Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by Cheerful Reaper on Wattpad. Now let's start. I shout, running over to their broken and bloodied bodies, and find a horrible sight. My mom's arms are gone, ripped clean off her shoulders. I can see bones, ligaments, and muscle. I GG at the horrible sight, run away and puke my little guts out. Reaper, do you copy? A voice buzzes in my ear as I stand at the edge of a cargo jet ramp, 30,000 feet in the air. Look out over Mustafa. It's a good-sized city, but smaller than Tokyo. I copy. Am I green? I ask, adjusting my carbine on my chest a bit. It's an M28EBR, an advanced version of the M20, which itself was an advanced version of the M14 carbine that was popular back in the early 21st century. It's chambered in 6.8, a mix between a 7.62 and 5.56, designed to fly like a 5.56 and hit like a 7. I also have a Beretta M9, which hasn't changed in the past centuries simply because of how good it is. I'm wearing an urban camo tactical suit designed for moving in city environments, especially at night. The graphene armor plates that sit over vital areas of my body weigh in at less than 10 pounds and are strong enough to stop a 50E dead in its tracks. The helmet is an Air Force standard, attaching to an oxygen tank on my chest, allowing me breath in the thin air. You're green. Head to the safe house. It's not perfect, but it should do until the job is up. My commander and mentor, Lieutenant Colonel Stone, says over my radio as a green light flashes above me. I run and jump out of the plane, heading into a controlled free fall, reaching speeds of 120 miles per hour. About 1,500 feet above ground level, I open my parachute, and I end up landing on a beach about 4 blocks from the safe house. It's cramped with garbage and waste, but that could work to my advantage. Cutting the parachute lines, I hide the parachute and jump bag in the piles of waste, then pull off my helmet and stuff it in my bag, hoping not to be spotted. I walk to beach entrance, my RBB-soled boots walking silently on the asphalt road leading to the safe house. It's in a large apartment complex, and when I arrive, I realize it's on the 4th floor. Sighing, I climb the stairs and head into the safe house, which was unlocked. Flicking on the lights, I look around the apartment. It's well furnished, and it's actually pretty spacious. Well, for an apartment meant for 2 or 3 people, that is. I check around, and find there's 2 rooms, the larger one clearly being the MS tier, considering the much larger and fuller closet and attached bathroom. It's got a decent-sized bed, and photos of a happy couple hanging on the walls. Not my parents, but some random couple we use as my cover. Whatever, it doesn't matter all that much. Investigating further, I realize the fridge is filled, as is the pantry. Makes sense. Working fridge, computer, dishwasher, TV, as well as washer and dryer. Pretty nice, even it looks simple from the outside. I then realize there should be a rifle hidden under the MSTR bed. Walking back into the room, I reach under the bed and pull out AM450, a semi-auto, low recoil, high-damage rifle chambered in 338 Lapua Magnum. This thing hits like a truck and can be used in medium-long range engagements, but could be used in closer quarters in a pinch. It currently has a Vortex Diamondback tactical scope on top, as well as a grip pod V2 foregrip/bipod combo, and a laser on the side. This should work for the time being. Pulling out a cell phone and opening a secure line, I call Stone, who picks after the first ring. How is it? Stone asks, keeping his voice calm. Nice. I landed at Dagoba Beach and ditched my parachute there. It'll be a good shooting range if it gets really loud here during the day. I say, pulling my clothes out of my bag, which consists of about 20 or so pairs of clothes, ranging from formal to tactical. Good. You're aware of what your mission is, correct? Stone asks as I hear sit down on the couch and look at the ceiling. I'm really tired. It's been a DMN long day. Provide Overwatch for Class 1A, high school, and if necessary, provide tactical and fire support in the event that villains attack. Speaking of which, you never told me, who are the villains? I ask, then hear a sigh on the other end of the phone. They're called the League of Villains. We believe their leader is a man named Shigaraki Tamura. He has a powerful quirk that allows him to disintegrate anything he touches with 5 fingers. He's dangerous, no doubt about it. There haven't been any incidents of concern quite yet, but it could very be that way soon. They're planning something big, but we don't know what it is. We have agents gathering data on that as we speak, but you don't need to worry about that. Right now, Rest. You found the rifle. You'll be doing long-range scouting for the next few days. They anywhere follow them. Stone out. Stone says, and the phone line goes dead. I sigh, then walk to the shower and strip, and take a nice long shower. I needed this if I'm being honest. After showering, I towel off and find the dresser in the room already full with boxers, socks, and some shirts and shorts. Grabbing a pair of black boxers, along with a pair of gray athletic shorts, I hop in the bed and pass out, falling into a deep and dreamless sleep. I wake up the next morning to the blaring of an alarm. I check the time and find it's 5 a.m. pre-programmed. Rolling out of bed, I find a muscle shirt in the closet, along with nice pair of running shoes. Pulling on a pair of socks, I lace up the shoes and find my headphones in my bag. Grabbing my phone, I connect my phone and start playing some music, then head down to the ground and go running. I run for close to 10 miles, a nice little warm-up. After I'm done, I go to Dagoba Beach and sit down on the sand, looking out over the ocean. It's peaceful here, nice and quiet, especially at 6 a.m. I sit there for about 10 minutes or so, catching my breath, when I hear footsteps on the sand behind me. I stand up and turn around, expecting an attack, but instead I'm knocked over by a girl around my age. Oh my God. Are you okay? The girl asks, holding a hand out to help. She helps me to my feet, and when I get a better look at her, I realize she's actually very pretty. She has dark purple eyes with red triangles underneath them, and short purple hair. Her earlobes are elongated with what look like earphone jacks on the end. Probably part of her quirk. She's quite a bit shorter than me, and she's wearing a pair of shorts and an athletic shirt. I'm fine. Just wasn't paying attention. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I ask as I hold out my hand. Wait, why did I tell her my real name? Jiro. I'm sorry I knocked you over. Kinda an instinct at this point. My hero training is starting to make me more aggressive. The girl says, returning the handshake. Hero training. Do you go to UA? I ask, keeping my voice calm and level. She could be a great source of intel. Good guess. I'm in class 1A. How about you? Where do you go to school? She asks, startling me for a second. Only for a second though. Ketsubutsu. Class 1B, I say, lying through my teeth. You live around here. That's kind of far for Ketsubutsu. Jiro says, a bit suspicious, I'm moving soon. It's just we're kinda tight with money at the moment, so it's easier for me to take the train at the moment. I reply, hoping she'll believe me. I get that. Well, I'll see you around. Jiro says, continuing on her run. Well, that was good, I guess. I made contact with a UH student, and a cute one at that. To my apartment, take a quick shower, eat breakfast, then get dressed in a black tactical bodysuit with active camouflage abilities. Grabbing the M405 rifle and packing a small lunch, I head up to the rooftop of the building, then begin to jump from building to building, running for several miles until I make to the top of a building across from UA. I set up camp there, laying down on the roof with my rifle, overlooking the campus. I spot Jiro talking to people who I assume to be her classmates, based on the way they're talking to each other. She's talking with a tall girl with spiky black hair. She looks really familiar, though I can't quite identify her. Anyway, I watch for a few more minutes, but they then disappear inside the main building. I wait for several minutes, and soon enough, a group of kids come out of the room. I spot Kyoka in the group, so I assume it's 1A. The man who I assume to be their teacher is dressed in what seems like black robes and a metal scarf. He goes into some speech and then hands a ball to some blonde, angry-looking kid. He throws it, throwing it a decent distance, but the teacher hands him another ball. The kid takes this one and throws, but produces an explosion behind it. His quirk, I guess. The ball flies much further, much to the surprise of all gathered there. The class goes on to test a bunch of skills, from a short distance race, which some kid with engines for legs won, to sidestepping, which some kid with sticky hair won. There were several more tests, but I got pretty bored shortly after. By lunchtime, the class has gone back in, and I'm eating my lunch when I see something off in the distance. The glint of a scope. It's a long way off, about 1,300 meters or so. Not an impossible hit, but not easy either. Stone. You there? I ask into my comm, not wanting to take out my own man. I read you, Reaper. What is it? Stone asks, a bit on edge. I got a scope flash 1,300 meters or so northwest of my position. Are there any of our operatives at that position? I ask, adjusting my scope for the range. I can see him, and he's clearly a good operative. Gray camo suit and a nice rifle. Makes me wonder why his glint isn't covered. We have no operatives in that position. Try to get his attention. Stone says, causing a chill to go down my spine. Grabbing a small mirror from my bag, I shine the light in the other sniper's eyes. He notices and turns to look at my position. I turn off my active camo and flash him a message in Morse code. Identify. Country, service, rank. I say, and he takes a bit to respond. U.S. Rangers, Colonel Louis Kapaldi. He responds, and I radio Stone. He claims to be Rangers, Colonel Louis Kapaldi. Can you confirm? I ask Stone, and after a few minutes, he radios me back. I can confirm. He's operating under the CIA, same thing we're doing. They want you two to meet up or at least talk. Pick an operating frequency and make contact. Stone says, getting sigh of relief out of me. Confirmed. Frequency, I send that over, then SWH my radio to within a few seconds, a gruff voice comes over the radio. You the guy across the way? He asks, with a calm tone of voice that I had heard before. Yep. Call me Reaper. I reply, and the guy is silent for a few seconds. You're just a kid, aren't you? The guy asks, a slight edge to his voice. I'm so yeah, just a kid. But don't underestimate me. I reply, keeping my own voice level. You got a quirk. Mine's a built rangefinder. Good for this line of work. Kapaldi says, followed by a chuckle. That is useful. Mine is Reaper's vessel. When I use it, every physical ability in my body is increased. Strength, speed, reaction time, agility, eyesight, and even my ability to process information with no drawbacks, other than that if I sustain for more than 4 hours or so, I can lose muscle mass. I explain, going over the specifics. That's an impressive quirk, kid. So, you JDF or something? Kapaldi asks, a hint of surprise in his voice. Well, yes, but I technically don't exist. I reply, a joking tone in my voice. Black Ops at your age. Well, I guess I can't say anything if you willingly chose this. What are you here for? Kapaldi asks, protecting U8 high school class 1A from a potential villain attack. I ask, throwing the question right back. I'm looking for a villain. Tomura Shigaraki. The CIA had designated him a dangerous criminal and they want to shut him down before he can do anything bad. Kapaldi says, causing me to raise an eyebrow, well then, we have common goals. Tomura Shigaraki is the leader of the villain my superiors thinks are going to attack you. We plan to capture or kill him if we get a chance. I've made contact with one student already, so I think I'm on track. I've been ordered to follow them if they move to any exterior location, outside of the main building. I'll try to find a way to get inside the campus without triggering any alarms. I explain, and Kapaldi stays quiet for a minute. Alright. I talked to my handler and he just gave me new intel. Shigaraki is planning to infiltrate the campus sometime in the next few days to gather data. We need to be there when it happens. Any chance you could find a way to get in? Kapaldi says, putting me on edge. I could find a way. It'll take time, but I can do it. I respond, thinking about ways I could get in. I can provide Overwatch, but you're gonna have to be careful, nonetheless. I'm probably a better shot anyways. Kapaldi, a silent challenge ringing out. Maybe. I'm gonna head back to my place and change into street clothes. I need a DMN break. I've been out here since you good handling Overwatch until school is over. I need to figure out a plan on entry. I say into the comms, followed by a few seconds of silence. I got the go-ahead. You're clear too, according to my handler. I've only been out since 11, so I can say until school ends. I'll call after that. You got a phone? Kapaldi asks, and I tell him my secure number, and he does the same. Packing my rifle, I head back to my apartment and change into a pair of dark jeans, a Nirvana t-shirt and dark leather bomber jacket, and a pair of black boots. I head into town and stop by a cafe, grabbing a coffee and a small scone, then eat them outside the cafe, ignoring the passing glances I get. I feel my phone vibrate and I pick up instantly. This is Kapaldi. You read me? Kapaldi asks, his deep voice prominent in my ear. Yeah. I read you. School's out. I ask as I see students walking out of UA. Yeah. You got eyes on the students? Kapaldi asks, as I spot Jiro walking toward me with the tall black-haired girl again. Yeah. The girl I meet this morning is walking my way. I'll see if she notices me. I reply, before hanging up on Kapaldi, then go back to drinking my coffee. Midoriya. Is that you? Jiro calls out, noticing me. I hold my hand up and the pair of girls walk over, with Jiro looking excited and the tall girl looking confused. It's me. You just got out of school. I ask, and the pair of girls nod. How are you already back and changed? School should have just ended at 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵𝐻. Jiro asks, and I reply by giving her a small smirk. It did just end. I just happened to skip after lunch and come home a bit early. I say, getting a surprised look from Jiro and a raised eyebrow from the tall girl. You skipped your last PRD. But the tall girl asks, clearly confused. I skipped it because I could. It was math, and I'm smart enough to crush college-level math tests. Point in sitting through something you already know. Also, not to be rude, but who are you? I ask, raising an eyebrow at the girl. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Momo Yayarozu. Pleased to meet you. The girl says, introducing herself with a small bow, Izuku Midoriya. Just call me Midoriya. You guys gonna stay for coffee? I ask, gesturing to the counter inside. We might. Is the coffee good? Jiro asks, looking at my cup. It's all right. The scones are pretty good though. I shrug, and the girls look at each other, then head inside. I want some. Besides, I want someone to talk to, other than that DMN pervert. Jiro says, heading inside, followed by Yayarozu. They come out a few minutes later, and as they walk over to me, Yayarozu murmurs something in Jiro's ear, causing her to blush. Wonder what that could be. They sit down at my table and sip at the coffee, and light up when they try the scones. You're right, these scones are good. Jiro exclaims, taking another bite. I'm usually right about food. After all, I eat a whole hell of a lot of food. I say, a small smirk on my face. So, you go to 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵𝐻. How is it? Yayarozu asks, nearly causing me to spit my coffee all over the place. It's pretty good. Teachers are nice, and the students are all right. How's UA? I heard rumors that All Might is gonna teach. I ask, and the girls exchange a small glance. The teachers are all right for the most part, and so are our classmates, save for one short little boy named Mineta. He's the definition of a pervert. You probably don't have to deal with that kind of thing, but it's just annoying to us girls. Jiro sighs, shaking her head. You know, in my experience, at least, all you gotta is hit him where the sun don't shine and he'll leave you alone. Works every time. I say, getting a small laugh out of Jiro, and a weak smile from Yayarozu. You're in the hero course at 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐵𝐻, right? So what's your quirk? Mine is creation, which allows me to create non-organic materials from lipids in my body. Yayarozu asks, looking rather proud of herself. Mine is Reaper's Vessel. It's an enhancement type, and it basically boosts every physical thing in my body. Stamina, speed, strength, reaction speed, etc. What about you, Jiro? I ask, causing Jiro to blush. Mine is earphone jack. I can use these, Jiro says, moving her earlobes around, to listen to things through walls, as well as create a sonic wave from my heartbeat. So, you're a human speaker, you're a human 3D printer, and I'm a human engine. You added NOS too? I say, pointing to Jiro, then Yayarozu, then myself. I mean, that's not wrong. Jiro says after pondering it for a bit. True. By the way, How old are you? You look like you're 17. Yaoyorozu asks, getting a small chuckle out of me. I'm barely, but a lot of people think I'm older than I am, based on my height and the way I dress. I say, getting a small smile out of Jiro, I like your shirt by the way. Nirvana is awesome. Jiro says, pointing to the logo, I'm glad you agree. Can you play anything? I would think your quirk will be pretty useful for music. I ask, getting another blush from Jiro, I can play a lot, but I mainly sing and play guitar. Jiro says, playing with her earlobes, me too. I haven't played a while, but it's like riding a bike, right? I reply, and I truthfully can sing and play guitar, although I'm better at guitar. Sorta. Do you play just electric, or can you play acoustic as well? Jiro asks, a light shining in her eyes. She's really pretty when she talks about this kind of thing. It's like she just comes alive. Mainly electric. I can play acoustic, but most of the songs I know are on the electric. I explain, before I hear someone clear their throat. As much as I love to watch you two flirt, I don't really like being ignored. I need to leave, so I just wanted to say goodbye. Yaoyorozu says, her comments getting a blush from Jiro and a small smirk from me. I need to get going too. But before I go, can I see your phone? Jiro asks, looking at me. I pull it out, and she snatches it away from me. Within a few seconds she hands it back, and there's a new contact in my phone. Kyoka Jiro. Text me later. Jiro says, walking away with Yaoyorozu, leaving me wondering what the hell just happened. I walk home from the cafe, holding my fresh cup of coffee in my hands. I head back to my apartment and pull up the files for Class 1A. There's a total of 19 students, which seems like a strange number to me. The blonde explosion kid is Bakugo Katsuki, and he's an interesting one. A track record of bullying, but an intense and powerful quirk. The second most powerful guy, at least by my guesses, is a kid named Shoto Todoroki. He's the son of Endeavor and a real piece of work. He can use both fire and ice, making him a double quirk user, which is incredibly rare. Both he and Momo Yaoyorozu were recommended in, meaning either they're just that good, or they bought their way in. Could be either. The purple-haired bouncy kid is Minoru Mineta, the pervert kid they mentioned. Ranked last in the class. By far the most interesting person on file is their teacher, Shota Aizawa. He's the pro-hero Eraserhead, and he erase power and transformation type quirks, but not mutation type. Powerful nonetheless. A bit of a social outcast, he's gained some infamy for expelling an entire class last year. That being said, the classes he does teach usually do pretty well, and they often make pretty good heroes. Then there's Kyoka. She's about middle of the pack in terms of physical exams, but for the written exam, she placed pretty high, meaning she's either smart or studies well. Her quirk is good for medium-range combat, and a more support-type role than anything. I get a call from Stone at about 8 p.m., and I pick up quickly. You made any progress? Stone asks, a normal question for a mission like this. Not really. I know the class size, and I've read over the files you sent over. I honestly don't get why the League would want to attack this class. 1A is powerful, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure if it's enough to warrant a full assault from a villain group. I'll keep looking. Also, I got intelligence from Kapaldi that Shigaraki is planning to infiltrate UA and steal some data. I've got to find a way to get inside, but their security system is top-notch. I'll see what happens over the next few days, but I'll find a way in. I explain, giving me report for the day. Good. You made contact with any of the students? Stone asks you. 2 of them. Kyoka Jiro and Momo Yaoyorozu. I reply, letting my mind wander a bit. I should probably text Jiro soon. Good job. You always were a ladies' man. Stone says, chuckling. Oh, shut up. I quite literally bumped into Jiro by accident. Then, after school had ended for the pair, we ran into each other at a cafe. I just got lucky, that's all. I reply, a small smirk on my face. Any information on who's the leader of sorts? Not really. Katsuki and Todoroki seem the most powerful, quirk-wise, but they don't why seem like leaders. Katsuki's way too aggressive, and Todoroki is too aloof. I suspect if we keep meeting up, I'll get more info. I'm pretending to be a Kestabutsu student, The issue with that is that I don't have any uniforms from Ketsubutsu. I'm just saying that I skipped the last class, which is math. Hopefully the lie holds for a while. I shrug and stone sighs. Alright. Keep up the good work, soldier. I'm gonna head home, but this line will stay open for the time being. There will be an operator on call if you need anything. Stone sighs, then the line goes dead. As the line goes dead, I get a text. Opening my phone, I see it's Jiro. Jiro, this is Midoriya, right? Midoriya? Yep. Sorry, I had to deal with dinner and stuff. I actually haven't eaten in a few hours, but that's alright. Jiro, what are you doing? Midoriya, nothing. Jiro, homework. They gave us homework on the first day, can you believe it? Midoriya, it is a hero course. I was warned I would get a lot over the next few days. Jiro, I suppose so. It's just annoying. Half of everything is annoying to someone. J, so, how was school for you minus the whole skipping math thing? Good. We didn't get to do anything hero-related, but it was only the first day. J, we actually had to do a bunch of tests for our quirks, like how fast we could run and things like that. I placed 17th out of 19th, but I kinda expected that. My quirk isn't good for things like that. Well, it's not last, that's something. Besides, I doubt it matters all that much. You could do really well in that, but be a complete idiot who can't make a strategy won't do well as a hero. J, thanks. You know, you seem to be really dangerous, but deep down, you're a big ol' softy, aren't ya? Guilty as charged. J, I gotta go, my parents are calling me. Talk tomorrow. Sure. I lean back on the couch and check the time. It's almost G's. I walk to the shower, take a long hot shower, then pass out on the bed. Izuku, come here. My dad groans, grabbing my hand. I'm here, Dad. I'm here. I cry, grabbing his hand in both of mine. Get out of here. My dad shouts, getting the attention of the villain. You're still alive. The brat is as well. I'm surprised. The villain shouts, picking me up and putting pressure on my skull. Suddenly, I feel something in my body change. I see red, and the villain's expression changes from rage to fear. Let me go. I snarl, my voice sounding like death. I shoot up in bed, covered in a cold sweat. I check the time and see it's 4 a.m. I walk over to my closet and grab a pair of dark sweatpants and a dark muscle shirt, grab the pair of running shoes and walk down to the beach. After warming up, I go through a shadow boxing routine, and I do that for several hours. By the time I stop, the sun has risen. I'm drenched in sweat, and my dark green hair is plastered to my head. Midoriya, you're here again. Jiro asks behind me, and I turn my head to look at her. She's wearing something pretty similar to yesterday, but the colors are different. I like listening to the waves. They're calming. I reply, looking at the waves crashing on the beach. You're drenched. Was it raining? Jiro asks, sitting down on a piece of scrap metal a few feet away. I was shadowboxing. I look at her, and noticing the look of confusion on her face, I explain. Shadowboxing is practicing boxing without hitting a bag or another person. It's a good way to practice fighting without having professional equipment. I say, clenching my fists. I see. How long were you out here, doing that? Jiro asks, a bit confused. I've been out here since a bit after. I don't know what time is it now, but that's when I started. I say, getting a look of shock from Jiro. It's just 6 am. You've been out for 2 hours. Jiro asks, incredulous. I guess so. Couldn't sleep well anyway. Nightmares. I say, when Jiro gives me an interesting look. What are they about? Or do you remember? Jiro asks, looking at me. I don't really. I just wake up in bed, screaming. I lie, keeping my memories to myself. Are you alright? Jiro asks, her voice concerned. I realize I'm crying. I wipe my tears away and give her a small smile. I'm alright. I say, standing up, then walking to Jiro and pull her up. I accidentally pull her up too hard, and we end up with our faces a few inches from each other. She takes a slow step back, looking like she didn't want to move back. To be honest, I didn't want her to. See you later. she says, running off, her cheeks tinted with a blush. I watch her as she runs off, heading home, I would guess. God damn it. Over the next 3 days I watch UA, looking for any chances that Shigaraki could break in. Nothing happens. No alarms are triggered, and no one gets in. I haven't seen Jiro since that morning on the beach, and I'm worried I scared her off. It might be for the best anyway. I spent a lot of time talking to Kapaldi. He's got a family back in the States. A wife of 20 years and 3 kids. One's 21 and in college, the other 2 are in high school, one my age and one older. He tells me stories of how his oldest is going to become an officer like him. He sounds really proud. We become friends, or as much as we can be, with all the stuff going on. He's a really funny and sarcastic guy, a lot like me. But I'm still bored sometimes. But that Friday, something interesting happens. A whole flock of reporters appear outside of the U8 gates closest to me. You seeing this, Kapaldi? I ask my partner, who responds quickly. I'm seeing it. You think Shigaraki is in there? Kapaldi asks, giving me pause. I scan the ground, thinking of the description of the man. Light blue hair, hand on his face. A flash of light blue hair in the crowd. I don't know. I'm going to find out though. I say, climbing down the building and moving into the crowd. I'm wearing a pair of dark jeans, a dark green hoodie, as well as my running shoes. I look like a normal civilian. But underneath all of that, I have my stealth suit, as well as a concealed M9. I also have a black balaclava with a skull design on it to hide my face. Are the rumors true that All Might is teaching at UA? One reporter shouts, getting a bit too aggressive and trying to run inside the main campus, causing the security system to go off, dropping metal shielding to drop over the gate, blocking the reporters out. I spot that flash of blue hair near the gate, and see him place a hand on the gate. The gate starts to rust from where he touched it, and seconds later, the gate falls apart. The reporters stand frozen for a second, before rushing inside, causing an alarm to go off. I flick on my stealth suit and follow the crowds inside. I also pull on my mask as an afterthought. Level 3 security breach. Someone unauthorized has breached the campus. I repeat, someone unauthorized has breached the complex. A mechanical voice blares over the alarm. I spot a flash of blue hair heading toward the main building. I follow him, keeping pace a few meters back. Thank God for quiet shoes. Shigaraki heads up the floors, all the way up the 5th story, then takes a left down a small hallway. Following him, he enters a small monitoring room, which is empty at the moment. I wait outside the room, and after he leaves, I go inside, and sit down at the computer station. I pull up the files on the computer that were recently accessed. I find it's the teacher schedule. The hell? I open the file, and try to find what he was looking for. It's a massive MSTR sheet, with dozens upon dozens of teachers, all of them going to several classes a day. I find Aizawa's class schedule and read over it. It's normal. No, it's not. In 1 week. The hell is that? I spend nearly 5 minutes, trying to figure out what that. I find it, under a list of acronyms. Unforeseen simulation joint. It's some kind of massive training ground. Who else is gonna be there? Prohero. It says that the intruder is in here. Nizu, open the door. A voice outside the door says, I need to go. The room has a window, but I don't want to fall 5 stories. Too late. I charge the window and break through it. Activating my power, I land on the ground and sprint to the wall, hopping over it, clearing the top of the wall by more than 5 feet. Reaper, can you read me? Kapaldi asks when I return to my sniper nest. I deactivate my quirk and pick up the radio, out of breath. I'm back. I know what Shigaraki's target is. It's the unforeseen simulation joint, a massive training ground on the U8's campus. I think he's planning some kind of attack, trying to hurt either the class or the teachers. I couldn't figure out which. I explain, speaking faster than I thought possible. Slow down, kid. Repeat that. Kapaldi says, trying to calm me down. I take a deep breath, and slow down my breathing. I repeat what I said, and he goes silent for a few minutes. Alright. Just got off the phone with my handler. He told me to tell you that both of our superiors gave us the green light to investigate further. I'm going to do some recon and try to figure out where this thing is. You head back to your place and find any details you can online. I'll radio you if I find anything. Kapaldi says, and I nod. Gotcha, I reply, then pack up my rifle and head back to my apartment. The first thing I do is call Stone and explain the situation. He tells me more or less what Kapaldi told me. I'm going to try to do some research, try to figure out what USJ is exactly. I'll give you another report tomorrow, I say, hanging up on Stone. I open my computer, and after searching on the school website, but getting nothing, I decide to search on different online forums. After searching for a few hours, I find what I'm looking for. The Unforeseen Simulation Joint, also known as USJ, is a disaster training ground designed to help students train in hazardous conditions and to practice rescues. It's a massive complex, much bigger than main building. But, oddly enough, there's only one entrance, making a breach very hard. The roof, on the other hand, is a viable option. It's made of glass and metal, meaning with the correct tool, or enough explosives, it would be easy to breach the roof. Discussing this with Kapaldi, he agreed that an explosive breach would be best, based on the structure. 4 days later. It's been 4 days since Shigaraki made it inside UA. I just got to my apartment to find it unlocked. I always, and I mean always, lock my door. Pulling my pistol out of my pocket, I enter the apartment and find a familiar face. Why are you pointing a gun at me? Do you not trust me? Sergeant Jack Overman asks, a smile on his face. Overman, what are you doing here? I ask as we give each other bro hugs. I'm here to give you some stuff you need. You said you needed breaching explosives, armor, and a shotgun, right? Overman asks after we back off. Yeah. You got the stuff? I ask, looking around for it. I spot 3 cases on the floor and smile wide. You like this? Up first, the shotgun. This is an advanced model of the DP-12, the DP double barrel, pump action, 24 rounds of 10-gauge shells. Overman says, handing the shotgun. It's light, which is good, but I suspect it'll be heavier fully loaded. Up next, armor. This is called the Advanced Medium Armor Suit, or AMAS for short. It'll protect against most impacts, and will also provide blast protection. It weighs in at a total of 15 pounds for the full-body suit, helmet included. Lastly, explosives. Standard breaching charges, but I've also tossed in a few frags and 9 bangers. Overman says, handing me a 9-banger. I owe you one, man. Thanks. I say, a massive smile on my face. No problem, man. Good luck. I'll see you later. Overman says, giving me one last hug before leaving. Once he does leave, I try on the armor and make my setup for the USJ fight. One of the features of the armor is that there's magnetic connectors strips on the back, allowing guns to stick to it. I'm gonna carry my M28, the DP-12, and my trusty M9, with extra ammunition for all. I'll also have my knife, 2 frags and 2 9-bangers. The total gear weight is just under 50 pounds, which is about par for the course, to be honest. Putting the gear in the MSTR bedroom under the bed, I decide to go to the convenience store and buy a few energy drinks. I leave my pistol, but I do bring my knife, just in case. I walk several blocks to the store and walk inside, then grab a few drinks and pay, and as I'm heading toward the door is blown inward by some kind of air pressure. I'm knocked on my back, and I smack my head on the base of a shelf. My vision goes blurry, and I see a dark shape heading towards the counter. Put the money in the bag. Hurry up, or this girl dies. A loud voice shouts, followed by a familiar voice. Put me down, you son of a bitch. My vision returns, and I take in the situation. A giant sludge monster is dragging a girl by a tentacle around her neck. The store clerk is loading a bag full of cash. Here you go. Take it, just please leave. The man at the register says, handing the sludge thing his bag back. Thanks. I'll be leaving now. The sludge monster says as I struggle to my feet. Hey, let her go. I snarl, drawing my knife. The sludge monster turns around and looks me up and down. The girl notices me and stares at me, a look of fear on her face. Who are you? What do you think a knife is gonna do? My body is made of liquid. You can't do anything to me. The sludge monster laughs, starting to move away, dragging Jiro with him. I'm talking to you. I would suggest you listen. I shout, throwing my knife at the thing's left eye, and it gets buried hilt deep into his eye. The thing shrieks in pain and retaliates by shooting some kind of pulse at me. It messes with my circadian rhythms, and I drop to my knees. You're gonna die for that, kid. The sludge monster shouts, letting the girl go and charging me. I activate the first level of my quirk and dodge him, grabbing my knife as I go. My quirk is so incredibly dangerous that there's multiple releases. I have a total of 5. This is the first one, which I don't use all that often. I mainly use the second release. It's indicated by a few things. First being my eyes. In the first stage, my iris turned black. Second stage, my entire eyes are black. Then red and black tendrils appear all over my body in the third release. The fourth stage is a red and black aura, and the tendrils form into armor. The fifth and final stage I never use, since I lose my humanity and turn into a demon more or less. Can you move? I ask the girl, and she nods quietly. Good. Call for help. Get the attention of pro heroes. Do it quickly. I say, and the girl runs off, leaving me to fight the sludge monster by myself. Diamen brat. The sludge monster shouts, then charges me. I dodge his strike and slash at him, but it does nothing. I guess I can't do a lot. At least not with my knife. You made a mistake attacking me. I snarl and go into my second release, turning my eyes entirely black. I charge him, jam my fingers on my left hand into his damaged eye. He screams in pain, and I use his pain to my advantage and grab him mouth and throw him several meters. What are you doing? You shouldn't be able to grab me. The thing shouts and charges me again. I dodge yet again, and jam my knife into his other eye, blinding him. Entirely. Oh, shut up, will you? Your whining won't get you anywhere. I snarl as the thing shrieks again. I'll kill you. The thing shouts, lashing out in a random direction. You can't see anything. How do you plan to kill me? I ask, keeping my voice calm. Do not worry. But because I am here. I hear a familiar voice shout, followed by the sound of cracking concrete. All Might. I say, a bit boredom in my voice. I dodge another lash from the monster. Who are you? No matter. Texas smash. All Might shouts, blowing the monster away. Nice job. How are you gonna capture him? I ask, looking at the symbol of peace. Simple. All Might says, then puts the villain into plastic bottles, while I wipe the BLD off of my knife with a rag I found that had gotten blown out of the store. I sheath the knife, then walk back into the store, and hand the clerk a large amount of money, nearly 50,000 yen. Use this for the glass doors. I say, then pick up my energy drinks and walk out of the store. Thank you, young man, for help me capture the villain. All Might says, walking up to me, no problem. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go home. My mom is probably worried. I say, walking away, and I feel an intense stare on me. I turn around, and All Might has vanished. Wonder what that was about. Over the next 3 days, we scope out the USJ building and examine the timetable several more times. It looks like that the training session will be in the afternoon, so we'll be able to set up and hopefully not be spotted. The day before the USJ training session / potential villain attack, we go over the plans dozens of times, discussing variations and potential situations that could arise. I also managed to hook him up with a Ame suit, and we practice some hand-to-hand combat drills. I also acquire grappling hooks to help us climb the wall leading up the glass portion. You ready for this? I ask, looking at Kapaldi as we look at the USJ walls. Yeah. As ready as I can be. Kapaldi says, pulling out a picture and looking at it fondly. Your kids? I ask, glancing at him. Yeah. They're the reason I do this. He sighs, then puts the picture away and activates the active camo. I activate mine, and we throw the grappling hooks up the walls of USJ, making it to the base wall. We then walk up the glass walls and make our way to the top of the building, then go our different ways, with Kapaldi taking the side with the lake, burning city, and weird storm zone, while I took the mountain and landslide side. We wait for about an hour or so, when the bus from UA arrives. Look alive, Reaper. The class has arrived. You ready? Kapaldi asks over our secure two-way radio. Got it? I say, planting explosives on the glass panel below me. I'm directly over the mountain zone, and it's not a super long fall, thankfully, about 60 feet or so. With my quirk and the suit, I should be able to handle it. The class enters the USJ, where 13 and Izawa start talking to the students. As they talk, a massive cloud of purple and black mist appears in the center of US. Villains begin to appear and some kid with red hair points they out. Izawa notices them and charges. I pull my out and try to radio Kapaldi, but nothing happens. SHT transmission blockers. I then try my detonator for the explosives. Nothing happens. That means they can block all kinds of signals. Examining the villains more closely, I see Shigaraki surrounded by a quartet of tall villains, all of whom look very dangerous. I need to get down there. I pull out my shotgun and fire a shot into the glass, which breaks instantly. Suddenly, I'm in freefall. Using my quirk on the first stage, I land on the top of the mountain zone, then slide down to a group of villains. Who are you? We were told. One of the villains asks, before I blow him away with a blast with my shotgun. I slam the pump action back and take out two others before the villains begin to attack. The first grows blade from his palms and tries to slash me, but I pump a pair of shells into his gut. I fight for several minutes, fending off these guys, but then my shotgun runs out of ammo. He's out of ammo. Get him. One of the larger guys shouts, charging me. I try to SW to my rifle, but I'm hit hard in the side, and I go flying, slamming into a piece of rock. I lose my shotgun, and my carbine is knocked away by some random villain. Now, let's see who's under the mask. Someone says, and I feel hands grab my helmet, then squeeze. The faceplate cracks clean down the middle, and I hear the metal creaking on either side of my head. Let him go. I hear a familiar voice, followed by a massive shockwave that drops even me to my knees. I use this to smack the villain who was trying to crush me with the butt of my pistol. Are you okay? Momo, make some medical supplies. Jiro says, running up to me as I stand up. I press a button on the side of my helmet, a voice modulator. I'm fine. Worry about yourselves. I say, my voice sounding garbled and much deeper. You just got slammed into a rock and had your faceplate cracked. You're not fine. Jiro says, putting a hand on my shoulder, trying to force me down. I resist, and in doing so, see something being swung at Jiro's back. Throwing her behind me, I catch the fist covered in rock, and respond by shooting the guy in the face with my M9, dropping him. Like I said, I'm fine. We need to help each other if we're gonna make it out of this alive. Can either of you use lethal force? I ask, loading a new clip into my M9. Yaoyorozu and Jiro look at me with something resembling confusion with a dash of fear. I'll take that as a no. Mims. I say, watching the villains closely as they approach the trio of us carefully. I'm Kyoka Jiro, and that's Momo Yaoyorozu. Who are you? Jiro asks as Yaoyorozu tosses her a blade of some kind. Call me Reaper? I reply simply, getting grins from some of the villains. Well then, you're gonna meet your namesake today, one of the guys shouts, then charges me with incredible speed. He swings a kick at my head, which I dodge. As he tries to recover, I pull out my knife and slice both of his Achilles tendons. He screams in pain and collapses. I doubt that. I say, looking at how many villains there are. I've already killed 10, 3 are knocked out, and there's the guy I just crippled. There's 9 of them left. Who are you really? You're not a student, that much is for sure, so who or what are you? One of the villains asks, electricity crackling between his fingers. I can't tell you much. I can tell you this much though. I am the last face you will see on this earth. I snarl, charging the villains. I slash and shoot through them, like a tornado through a trailer park. Soon enough, the air is filled with the smell of gunpowder and BLD. After all of them are down, I count the bodies. 2, 4, 6, wait. Kyuka. I hear Yaoyorozu shout, followed by the sound of metal hitting a skull, then the crumpling of a body. I turn around and see a guy is holding Jiro hostage with a knife to her throat. If you want to save her, drop your weapons and take off your helmet, the guy shouts, pressing the blade closer to her throat. I see BLD begin to appear on the blade. Then everything turns red-tinted. I feel the tendrils appear on my arms, and both Jiro's and the villain's eyes widen. You made a mistake. You made a massive mistake. I snarl, my voice sounding like a demon's. Back up, man. I'll kill her. The villain says, pressing the blade closer. The next second, I'm holding the blade in one hand and cradling Jiro in my other arm. I set her down, ignoring her look of fear. I examine the blade closer and realize I took the guy's hand with it. A loud scream pierces the air as the villain looks at the bloody stump of his arm. I drop the hand and begin stalking toward the villain. Taking a hostage. Not just any hostage either. A teenage girl. You tried to kill her, threatening to slice her throat. I've done some awful things, but nothing like that. You die. I shout, picking up the man with one hand and applying pressure. Within a few seconds, I feel his skull crack, and then it explodes, splattering BLD and brains all over me and the ground. I force myself to calm down, and the hellish tendrils dissolve. I then collapse to one knee and feel bile swell in my throat. I force it back down, then find my shotgun and rifle. The shotgun is a total loss, with both barrels bent at a 20-degree angle. If I tried to fire this, it would blow up in my face. My carbine is okay, with only a few scratches on the casing. Are you okay? I ask as I kneel down to get to eye level with Jiro, who's still sitting on the ground. I think so. Jiro nods, touching her throat. I nod, then walk to Yaoyorozu and place my fingers on her carotid artery. I feel a strong and steady, if slow pulse. Unconscious. When she wakes up, have her create some bandages for you. Then get out here. I say, walking off, flicking the safety off of my carbine. Why should we? We're hero students, we need to stay and help. Jiro says, standing up. You don't need to do anything. I understand where you're coming from, but this isn't training. I've made that mistake before, and it ended badly. I got some good friends killed, thinking something that wasn't training was. I say, then begin running toward the center. When I arrive, Aizawa is fighting off villains all by himself. He's doing pretty well to be honest, but he's getting tired. As I approach, I hear Shigaraki shout something. Nomu. Suddenly, a giant blue creature with a bird beak and an exposed brain appears from a black and gray swirling portal and pins Aizawa to the ground. Now we have this in the bag. Shigaraki shouts, followed by sound of bone snapping. Aizawa shouts in pain, his arm bent at the elbow at a horrific angle. Crack! A gun shout rings out, and the Nomu shrieks in pain. Get away from him, you mutant bee! Kapaldi shouts, rushing the Nomu while spraying rounds from his M16. The creature backs up, clearly in pain. I rush out as well, and put 6 rounds into its chest, knocking it to the ground. Kapaldi! You're okay. I say as I stand guard over him as he examines Aizawa. I'm alive. You look a little worse for wear than me. What happened to you? Why are you covered in BLD? Kapaldi asks as he drags Aizawa to a pair of students. One of them has red and white hair, with a burn mark over his left eye, and an odd form, wearing only boots and gloves. I guess she's invisible. I got slammed into a rock, nearly had my helmet crushed, then crushed a dude's skull with my hands. What about you? I ask as the students run away, carrying Aizawa. The peppermint hair kid froze all of the villains in my zone, so I haven't had much combat. It just took me a bit to get here. Kapaldi replies as the Nomu stands up. My name is Reaper, and this is... I begin to say, before I'm cut off by Kapaldi Avenger. Shigaraki, I take it? Kapaldi asks, not taking his eyes off the Nomu. I am. And this is Nomu, a deadly mutant creature, with shock absorption. He can't be killed by normal means. Nomu, kill them. Shigaraki shouts, and the creature charges us. I pull the pin on a 9-banger, and when the creature gets close, I shove the 9-banger into its mouth. It goes off in the creature's off, startling it. Avenger, distract it? I shout, unleashing my quirk to the second seal. I put my rifle on my back and draw my knife, as Kapaldi dumps a mag into the Nomu. I jump on it back and drive my knife through its exposed cranium, then empty an entire M9 mag into its skull, then reload and dump a second mag, and the creature collapses, its head only a pile of mush and pieces of bone. Geez, kid, overkill much? Kapaldi asks as I pick up and wipe off my knife. Maybe a bit. Now onto the D. I begin to say, before I'm smacked out of the way and slam into a tree a couple dozen feet away. Reaper? Kapaldi shouts, but has to block a blade from one of the quartet of villains guarding Shigaraki. A pair of them walk over to me, one of them with massive sledgehammer heads to hands, and the other having chainsaws as hands. The hell? I'm Crusher. Nice to meet you. Time to die. The sledgehammer guy says before swinging at me. I roll out of the way, dodging the hammer by an inch. Sadly, I didn't react to dodge the chainsaw swinging down at my left arm. It only grazes my, thanks to the amas, but it still hurts. I shout in pain, kick the blade away and scramble to my feet. I grab my arm and move it, making sure it's okay. He didn't sever any tendons or hit any major arteries, so I'll live. I'm Saw. Nice to meet you too. But I agree with my Borther, you need to die. The Sawhand man says, and the pair advances on me. Drawing my rifle, I fire at them, but they block the bullet with their hands. Sadly, they got closer than I expected. Saw swings at my barrel, and shreds off the end, and Crusher smacks the rifle away. I snarl as I dodge Saw and Crusher, trying to get an opening. I can't release to my third stage like this. Suddenly, I hear Kapaldi shout in pain. I sneak a quick look, and I'm horrified by what I see. He just got stabbed in the gut. The villain using the blade rips it out, and Kapaldi collapses in a pool of BLD Kapaldi. I shout, then get blindsided by Crusher in the head, and I go flying, landing next to Kapaldi. My helmet falls apart, revealing my face, but at the moment, I don't care. I scramble over to Kapaldi, flip him over, and look at the horrific wound in his gut. It's nearly 6 inches long, and the edges are ragged. Serrated blade. Reaper, is that what you look like? A lot. Like my son. Kapaldi wheezes, reaching up to touch my face. Hang on, man. Just hang on. You're gonna be alright. I'll get you. I say, but Kapaldi holds up a hand to stop me. You never told me your name. I want to know the name of my friend, before I die. Kapaldi says, taking a gurgling breath between set of words. Izuku Midoriya. I say, feeling hot tears well to the surface. Izuku. Such a nice name. Can you promise me something? He asks, his breathing turning shallow. What is it? I ask, the tears flowing freely. Make sure my wife. Make sure she knows what I did. I think she would want to meet you. Kapaldi says, I promise. I promise. I nod, grabbing his hand in mine. Good kid. Good. Kapaldi sighs, then releases a final breath. I take a shuddering breath, then reach for the dog tags around his neck and pull them off, pocketing the BLD-stained metal discs. Well, now that that's out of the way, how about we send you to meet him? Crusher says, raising his hand behind me. That's my line. I snarl, catching his hand a few inches from my head. I stand up, a hellish black aura surrounding me. Then I snap. Jiro POV, who is that kid? Kirishima asks as I watch in horror as Izuku cradles another man in armor with a gut wound. I never would have that the man who killed all of those villains would be that kid from Kustabutsu. Now that I think about it, that's probably a line. I have no idea, but he seems weak to be honest. Bakugo says, looking at Izuku crying. A villain with sledgehammers for hands walks up behind him and prepares to swing, but Izuku catches his hand. A split second after, black flames appear all over his body, and an unearthly cry sounds out in US. The sound freezes me and everyone around me, including Bakugo and Kirishima, some of the bravest people in our class, in place. Izuku, what is this? I think, looking at Izuku as he stands up and throws the sledgehammer guy into a guy with chainsaws for hands. Izuku POV, what the hell? How did that kid do that? Saw asks as he stands up, then helps Crusher to his. I'm really angry right now. That's how. I shout, then shoot forward, moving faster than the human I can see. Grabbing Crusher by this throat, I rip his head off with one hand, then crush the head like an overripe apple. Bro, Saw shouts, charging me, in pure blind rage. I sidestep him, grab his biceps, and yank HRD on the muscle. I pull so hard, I rip his arms clean out of his shoulder, leaving me with bloody arms. I throw one of the arms at the pair who attacked Kapaldi, then run through Saw with his own arm. Ripping the arm up, I split him in half from the waist up, his body folding open like a book. BLD sprays up like a fountain, covering me in dots of BLD, staining my green hair. Well, that was fun. Who's next? I shout, turning to face the other two. One is holding a bloody serrated knife, and the other has blades protruding from his palms, like some kind of freak show. Get him! Kill him, kill him, kill him! Shigaraki shouts, and the two guys charge me, swinging their blades at my head. Too slow. I sigh, catching their blades. I rip the blade from the palm of the one guy, and snap the serrated blade in two. The palm blade guy screams in pain, and tires to swing with his other hand, but I catch that blade as well, and turn the blade around, stabbing the guy through the bottom of the jaw with his own blade. Suddenly, I feel sharp pain just below my ribs. The guy with the serrated blade stabbed me with another one of his blades. It's not enough to stop me in this state, but it was worth a shot. Die, you DMNBSTRD. The guy shouts, pulling the blade out and stabbing me again. You're gonna need a sharper blade if you're gonna do that. I sigh, grab his arm and twist it, ripping it off his body like a fruit off of a tree. The guy screams, and to shut him up, I grab his throat, and with a bit of pressure, crush his windpipe, carotid artery, and spine. I drop his body and look over at Shigaraki and a dude covered in that black-purple mist. Who are you? Shigaraki asks, a bit of intrigue. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Call me Reaper. I will be the last face you see when you leave this earth. I snarl, walking toward him, only to be interrupted by a voice behind me, Shigaraki. I turn around and see All Might standing over by the entrance, a look of determination on his face. Time for us to take our leave. I hope we meet again, Izuku Midoriya. Shigaraki says, disappearing into a portal, I'm not done with you. Get back here, you bastard. I shout, charging the portal. But, I'm yanked back by a hand on my shoulder. I land a few meters back, and find myself looking at All Might, who's staring at me with an intense expression. Who are you? And what are you doing here? All Might asks, stalking toward me, as the portal closes behind him, none of your dimmin' business. Now I've got to go. I say, feeling my power slip away from me. I can't use this form for long, I forgot. I drop to my knees as the pain from my injuries returns in full, including the 2 new stab wounds. You are the kid at convenience store. What are you doing here, young man? All Might asks, his voice becoming concerned more than anything. None. Business. I slur, feeling myself lose consciousness. I let the darkness take me. Damn it. I wake up, looking at a set of bright lights above me. I sit up, and instantly clench my teeth in pain. When I get a better look at my surroundings, I realize I'm in what appears to be a hospital room. I'm wrapped from head to toe in bandages, and the ones right below my ribs are stained with blood. Sit back down. You're not fully healed yet. A short old woman shouts, coming into the room. I'm fine. What? The F was that for? I ask after the woman hits on the head with an cane. Watch your language, first of all, and second, your stab wound isn't full healed yet. Lay back down before I hit you again. The old woman says, and I sigh, then lean back. Where am I ask as the old woman walks over to my side with the wound, and then kisses the just next to wound, and I feel the pain fade away. You're at UA. My name is Recovery Girl. According to All Might, Ms. Yayarozu, as well as Ms. Jiro, your name is Izuku Midoriya. You are also apparently a student at Ketsubutsu High. I'm assuming the latter is a lie. Recovery Girl says as I sit up and unwrap my bandages, not waiting for permission. I have a nasty scar where I got the stab wound, but I already have a few on my chest, so it's nothing that I wasn't expecting. I'm not a student anywhere. Do you have a phone? I ask, looking around for one. Yes. I do have a phone. I believe it's yours. A voice I don't recognize says, and a small white bear dog rat thing walks in, tossing me my cell phone. It is. How did you find this? It wasn't on me during my mission. I ask, looking at the small creature. We found your apartment. You have several dozen missed calls on that phone. I suggest you call the caller back. They seem rather worried. The thing says calmly. I check, and he's correct. They're all from Stone. I call him and he picks up on the first ring. Reaper. Are you there? Stone asks, clearly worried. It's me. I reply, and then I hear a sigh on the other end of the phone. You're alive. But why haven't called me in 3 days? I thought you had died, kid. Stone snaps at me, going to back to business. I was knocked out, I guess. I'm currently inside of UA. I was healed by Recovery Girl, so I'm okay, if that's your next question. I say, cutting a question off from Stone. But any word on Kapaldi? We haven't been able to contact him either. Stone says, and I seize at the name. I check my pockets and realize I can't find the dog tags. I look around and see them sitting on the bedstand next to me. I pick them up and clench them in my fists. Kapaldi is Kia. He died attacking villains who were trying to kill 1A students. I say, my voice breaking. Stone is silent. I see. Do you have his body? Or his tags? Stone asks, a somber tone to his voice. I have his tags. I am unaware of where his body is. By the way, sir, I need to know. Can I tell you 8 teachers about my mission, since they're bound to ask questions? I ask, whispering into the phone. At this point, I think that may be the best course of action. I assume they've seen your face, so there's not much point to hide anymore. I'll need to talk with command with this, but we can find for you to stay and help. I gotta go, so be careful. Stone says, then hangs up. Now that you're healed, I want to ask you some questions. Follow me if you would. The small white creature says, heading toward the door. I stand up, grabbing a muscle shirt from the nightstand on the way out. We walk through the halls of UA and end up in an office, with 3 pro heroes inside. All Might, Aizawa, and a woman dressed in Esтерpar outfit. Midnight, the R-rated hero. So, this is the kid. I expected someone more impressive. Midnight says, looking me over. Don't let his looks fool you. He's incredibly strong, both physically and mentally. Him and his partners saved the life of my students and me, with complete disregard to their own safety, Aizawa says, causing Midnight to look me over again. Speaking of my partner, where's his body? I ask, looking at the small white creature, who's now sitting behind a desk. It's in a cryopreservation chamber. Now, my name is Nizu, and I'm the principal of this school. Is your name Izuku Midoriya? Nizu asks, giving me an intense stare. Are you part of the Japan Defense Force? Yes and no. Technically, I don't exist. I'm part of an Black Ops unit, which shows on no single registry of JDF forces. I say, getting odd looks from the heroes in the room. Black Ops. You seem way too young. All Might scoffs, shaking his head. I would have thought my fighting style would have exemplified that. I'm a killer. Speaking of which, how many villains were there that day? I ask, looking at Nizu. There were well over 200 villains there. You killed 24, including the Nomu. No other villain were killed. Nizu says, an interesting look on his face. No, that's not it. More like a mix of fear and anger. You killed 24 people. How many people have you killed, kid? Midnight asks, a look of intrigue on her face. You want to put a number on it? I have no idea. Over 1,000, I can tell that much. I say, getting reactions ranging from shock to understanding. The way you were fighting was brutal, using a combination of guns, knives, and your quirk. I'd believe it. Aizawa shrugs, causing Midnight and All Might to shake their heads. Speaking of quirks, what is yours, young Midoriya? All Might asks. It's called Reaper's Vessel. It's classified as a power enhancement quirk, but it would be more accurate to call it a transformation quirk. Basically, it pushes my body beyond normal physical limits, while releasing massive amounts of energy in the form of black fire. I turn into a nearly unkillable machine of death. The drawback is, the more power I use, the less time I can use it for. I can only maintain my 4th stage for a few minutes, and I don't remember anything if I go into the 5th stage. I explain, causing the room to go silent. We have a proposition for you, Mr. Midoriya. 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐦𝐚𝐫𝐲 says out of the blue, getting my attention instantly. Alright, I'll hear you out. I nod. Become a student here at UA, 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐴 says, shocking me to my core. I ask, incredulous, become a student. Join Class 1A, and keep doing your mission. Your mission is to protect Class 1A, right? What better position to do that from than inside it? 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐴 exclaims, clearly happy. 𝐒𝐮𝐴, are you sure? You've seen how violent this kid is. All Might bursts out, a look of intense anger on his face. It's up to Midoriya and Izuku. As long as they don't have any problems with it, why should we? Midnight shrugs, I'm fine with it. I can shut down his quirk if need be, so I'm not super worried. Izuku nods, leaving everyone to look at me. I'll have to confirm it with command, but I should be good. Give me a second. I say, then call Stone. He picks up quickly, and I explain the situation. Is the administration okay with you attending? If so, I don't have any problems. Stone says, yeah, the admin is good with it. I reply, alright then. Go get him then. Stone says, then hangs up. So, what's the consensus? 𝐒𝐮𝐴 asks after I put the phone away. I'm good. I'm gonna need uniforms, but command says I'm good. I say, getting a nod from Izuku, and a small smile from 𝐒𝐮𝐴. That Monday. I'm waiting outside of Class 1A. Izuku wanted to introduce me after class started. I got here about 5 minutes ago, and everyone was already inside. I'm wearing the UA uniform. I'm not wearing the tie, because I hate those. Plus, my shirt is untucked, since I always refuse to tuck in my shirt. Settle down. Alright, first things first, we have a new student. Come on in. Izuku says, followed by murmurs in the room. I slide the door open and walk inside. When she notices me, Jiro nearly falls out of her chair from the shock of it. Yaoyorozu is much calmer, but she still has a shocked expression on her face. This is Izuku Midoriya. He'll be joining our class, so be nice now. Who the hell is this kid? He doesn't seem all that special. A blonde angry-looking kid asks, a snarl on his face. Bakugo. That is exceptionally rude. You should apologize. The blue-haired kid says, but I hold up my hand. It's fine. That's a fair question. I think it would be best answered by this. I say, then unleash my power to the 4th level. Black flames spread all over my body, my eyes turn pitch black, and blacks and red tendrils appear all over my body. Does this answer your question? I ask, my voice seeming to freeze everyone in place, Izuku included. I stop my power and everyone relaxes, if only slightly. You are the guy at USJ. Just who are you exactly? Some girl with short brown hair asks. To put it simply, I am the embodiment of danger. I'm a Black Ops member as well as a killer. I'm here for one reason and one reason only, and it's to protect the members of this class from Tamura Shigaraki. I say, silencing the class, I wanna fight you. The kid named Bakugo shouts, shooting to his feet, no, you don't? I reply, actually, it might be a good idea to have you fight the class. Just to see how powerful both you and they are. We'll do it in the afternoon. Izuku says as I look at him, an exasperated look on my face. Fine. But don't blame me if they all end up with Recovery Girl. I say, shaking my head. Before I know it, it's lunchtime. I grab some katsudon, my favorite food, and walk toward the class. Izuku, come sit here. Jiro shouts, waving me over. I walk over and sit down next to her. Almost instantly, a kid with spiky red hair asks me a question. You've had military training, right? Do you know how to shoot guns? The kid asks, a look of innocence and intrigue on his face. Kirishima. You shouldn't do that. At least let him take a bite of his food. Jiro sighs, but I just chuckle. I can, to answer your question. I was also trained in knife, as well as hand-to-hand combat. Along with that, I've trained my quirk extensively. I reply, getting a smile out of Kirishima. But before anyone else can speak, I feel something cold being poured over my head. The hell? It looks like they're letting anyone into UA now. Who's the new kid? A snarky voice behind me says. I turn around and see a blonde staring at me, holding a can of orange soda. F of a few extra. Bakugo shouts, and the kid only shakes his head. So quick to anger, so quick to violence. No one will ever accept you as a hero like that. The kid says, a smirk on his face. Bakugo starts to say something, but I hold up my hand. I stand up, and I'm quite a bit taller than the kid. You're right. He's rather quick to anger, and rather quick to violence. Luckily for you, I'm not him. I say, looking at him with a calm expression. You see, he seems like a goods. He doesn't even get to finish his sentence before I grab him hand and slam him over my shoulder onto the table. Drawing a hidden knife from my boot, I slowly place the knife against his throat. On the other hand, there you have me. Calm, cool, collected, violent. I'm gonna warn you now, you F with me or this class, ever again, I will break every finger on both of your hands, then your toes, then your forearms, then your shins, so forth and so forth. Get the picture? I ask, and when he nods, I pick him up off the table and put him on his feet. He runs away, and I then sit back down, then notice everyone looking at me, a bit impressed. What? You guys are looking at me like I'm a psycho. I ask, set off. Well, you did just threaten to break someone's bones, which is not very hero-like, but I guess you need some work. I'm Tenya Ida, the class representative. Nice to meet you. The blue-haired kid says, sitting down across from me. Likewise. So who was that guy? He's Monoma. He's a kid who hates us because we got attacked by villains, and he claims that we think we're better than Class 1B, a kid with yellow hair, who introduces himself as Denki Kaminari says, we are better than those extras. Bakugo shouts, I think he's just jealous, ribbit. A girl with a frog-like tongue says. Apparently her name is Azui Tusiu, and her quirk it frog. Maybe, doesn't give him the right to act like a BSTRD. I sigh, wiping the orange soda off my face. I like this guy. Bakugo says, a smirk on his face. If you like him, he's gotta be amazing. I'm Uraraka Achiko, by the way. The girl with short brown hair says. How do you know Jiro and Yaoyorozu? An annoying voice asks, and I spot a really short with purple says. I remember his name is Mineta. Jiro ran into me, literally. Then I met Yaoyorozu when they found me at a cafe. I say, and Mineta runs up to me and whispers in my ear. Do you know? Have some fun times. Tell me everything about it. Mineta says, and I suddenly remember what Jiro said about him. I just remember something. I say, shoving Mineta away from me. What? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Mineta says, his face growing greedy, Jiro told me that you're the resident pervert. You know what happens to perverts in the military. I ask, cracking my knuckles and standing up, what? Mineta asks, fear in his voice, this. I exclaim, then pick him up, and toss him out the door of the cafeteria, sending him flying down the hall. After that action, all the girls cheer. After lunch, out in the training yard. When is the BSTRD gonna get out here? He's been a while. I hear Bakugo shout out in the yard. Give him more than 2 minutes. Ida shouts and I chuckle. Walking out onto the field, everyone spot me instantly, and gets very confused at what I'm wearing. I'm wearing a tight tank top, a pair of dark sweatpants, and a pair of simple black running shoes. I also have a pair of knives in forearm sleeves on either arm. I roll out my shoulders and bounce on my feet a bit. Where's your armor and costume? Kirishima asks as I walk toward the class. I notice some of the girls are blushing a bit, mainly Jiro and Uraraka. Although, Uraraka could be looking at Bakugo. Jiro is wearing a dark salmon-colored shirt and dark breathes, with rather unique boots, a black jacket over her shirt, white gloves, and a small black choker. She's really pretty in that. It suits her. My armor is being repaired. Plus, I doubt I'll need it. I say, unleashing my quirk to the second level, and drawing one of my knives. These are his knives. BW. Die. Bakugo shouts, quite literally exploding toward me. Ida follows, a split second behind him. Bakugo throw an opening right and Ida throws a spinning high kick. Mistake slow. I shout, grabbing Bakugo and swinging him into Ida. They go flying back as Kirishima charges me, with Kaminari and a guy with dark hair, named Siro. Kirishima throws a low uppercut, aiming for my gut. Countering, I slaw my knife down, knocking his arm lower, then knee him in the face, knocking him into Kaminari. Zero tapes up my left arm, but I just yank him toward me and kick him in the gut, sending him flying back. As I recover from my kick, a laser is shot at me. As I dodge it, I see Sato trying to punch me with a devastating blow. Instead, he ends up on the ground with a dislocated shoulder, courtesy of me yanking it out and throwing him over my shoulder. Todoroki. Ice him. Jiro shouts, trying to hit me with his tail. I simply grab it, then throw him at Aoyama, knocking them both to the ground. But when I try to move, I realize I'm buried up to my knees in ice. We win. The invisible girl shouts, jumping up and down. You don't. I sigh, breaking out of the ice and going on the offensive, striking Hagakure in the face, knocking her aside. The alien-looking girl, Mina, throws acid at me, which I dodge, then knock her aside with a right hook. I see ice fly towards me again, and I dodge, but as I do I feel a tongue wrap around me. I'm yanked toward Azui, who has Uraraka next to her, hands outstretched. Pulling the tongue hard to the right, I make it touch Uraraka's hands. Azui starts to float, and Uraraka releases her, but I then drop-kick Uraraka, knocking her to the ground. I land on my feet and throw a kick at Azui's head, which she does dodge. Sadly, she missed the uppercut. She lets go of me, since she nearly bit off her own tongue, and I hit her in the solar plexus, dropping her. I turn around and count how many are left. Todoroki, Yaoyorozu, Mineta, Jiro, Tokoyami, Koda, Shoji. All right, let's do this. I shout, charging forward. I take out Koda and Mineta first, slamming their heads together, knocking them out. Tokoyami tries to hit me with his dark shadow, but I react too fast and grab Tokoyami, throwing him into Shoji, then drop-kicking the pair, knocking them both down and out of the fight. Yaoyorozu tries to hit me with a bow staff, but I dodge and rip the staff from her, then smack her upside the head with it. She drops and I turn around, blocking a blade strike from Jiro. I disarm her, then kick her away, hopefully not hurting her too badly. I hear this and turn around only to get an explosion to the face. I'm sent sliding back. When I can properly see again, I see that Kirishima, Ida, and Bakugo have all gotten up and are ready to fight. You guys got up. Good on you. That was a good warm-up. I sigh, bouncing on my feet a bit. A warm-up. Don't look down on us. Bakugo shouts, but Ida holds him back. What do you mean, a warm-up? Ida asks, looking at me confused. I was holding back against everyone else, since I didn't want to hurt them. But you guys got up, meaning you're pretty tough. I say, going into my third stage. The black and red tendrils snake up my arm and legs, shredding the bottom of the sweatpants I was wearing. Let's go. Both Kirishima and Bakugo charge me, ready to fight. I draw my other knife and engage Kirishima first, fighting blade to arm. We go at it for a few minutes, with me dodging random explosions from Bakugo and ice attacks from Todoroki, along with an occasional kick from Ida. Eventually, I manage to get an upper hand on Kirishima when his armor cracks a bit. Taking the opportunity, I slam the butt of one of my knives into his temple, and he drops, knocked out. But in doing so, I take an explosion to the back, courtesy of Bakugo. I hit the ground and slide a few feet, before getting back up. My shirt is shredded and just getting in the way at this point, so I rip it off. Recipro burst. Ida shouts, his engines flaring blue fire, and he launches a high-speed kick at me. Dropping my knives, I catch his shin, I swing him around, then slam him into the ground. I turn around and see Bakugo jumping into the air, and then he starts spinning. Howitzer. Impact. He screams and erupts forward, trying to hit me dead on it seems. Idiot. When he gets close enough, I grab his head and redirect him to my side. Another ice flow heads my way. I dodge it, then sprint, tackling Todoroki. I get up, place a knee on his chest and raise my fist. That's enough. Aizawa shouts, and I feel my quirk stop instantly. I get off of Todoroki and help him up. Just how powerful are you? Todoroki asks as I grab my knives. I sheath them, then turn around and face him, a serious look on his face. More than you can handle, I reply, dodging the question. I help Bakugo to his feet, who accepts my help begrudgingly. I then walk over to Jiro, who's trying to get to her feet. I help her, and put her arm over her shoulder. You alright? I hit pretty hard. I say as she shakes her head, a smile on her face. I'm gonna have a bruise, but I should be fine. You are way too good. Jiro says, touching his ribs where I kicked her. Sorry about that. I say, giving her a small smile. You know you're shirtless, right? Jiro asks, blushing to hell and back. I am aware. You gonna complain? I ask, a smirk on my face. Never said I was. Jiro replies, blushing harder. Hey, are you two gonna break up the romance and help me wake all these guys up? Bakugo asks, causing both of us to blush. Oh, shut up, I shout, then sigh and walk over toward the unconscious bodies of my classmates. The next day, me and Kyoka meet up at the cafe before school. Morning appealing, I say, kissing her on the cheek. Stop it. She whines and I kiss her again in response. Got you coffee? Frappuccino okay? I ask, handing her the drink. She takes it and breathes in the smell. I notice she's wearing the necklace I gave her. I can feel mine resting against my sternum. Did you get scones? She asks, and I hold up the bag in response. She takes a blueberry one, while I take a strawberry one. Ida is probably gonna kill us, huh? I say as walk onto campus, with my arm around her shoulders. For what? The coffee, or that we're dating? Kyoka asks as we walk into the main building and over to Class 1A, both, to be honest. I reply, then slide open the door. Kyoka. Midoriya. Mina says, noticing us. I raise my free hand and then Ida spots us. Is that coffee? And Midoriya, why do you have your arm around Jiro? Ida asks, running up to us and making excessive hand-chopping motions. Yes, this is coffee, and I have my arm Kyoka because we're dating. Any other questions? I ask, causing Ida's jaw to drop. When did this happen? He asks and I start to answer, but Kyoka beats me to it, yesterday. It happened at the mall. Kyoka says and I nod in agreement. In that case, stay here. Ida says, then rushes over to his backpack, pulls something out, and rushes back over, and hands both me and Kyoka a pamphlet Rules for Dating in Class 1A. Ida, are you serious? I ask, looking at the glossy pamphlet. I open it and begin to read. Must be careful, no PD, no distracting other classmates, yes. I am very serious. We are hero students and much act as such. Now, read over the pamphlet and get back to me, Issy. Ida says, crossing arms. Okay, hold on. I read over it quickly, and there's only one rule I have an issue with. I say, setting the pamphlet and my coffee down, which is? Ida asks, a confused look on his face. Kyoka has a confused look as well. The PDA rules. I reply, then grab the sides of Kyoka's face and give her a long, slow kiss on the lips. When I break away, Ida is shocked, Kyoka is blushing up a storm, and Bakugo, Kirishima, Mina, and Achiko are all laughing their butts off. Way to stick it to man in the most manly way possible, Midori bro, Kirishima says when he can breath again. Did you have to do that? Kyoka mumbles as Ida still stares at me, frozen in place. I adjust and put my arm around her shoulder again, and pick up my coffee, leaving the pamphlet. Are you gonna complain? I ask, squeezing her shoulder a bit. That was incredibly rude, Midoriya. What is the point of that display of PD? Ida asks, a bit miffed, to prove a point. I don't give a DMN about your rules. I say with a small smile. Now that you're done shouting, can you please sit down? And Midoriya, if you ever do something like that again in my class, you are wiping this room spotless. Aizawa says, coming through the door. Yes, sir. I say, going to sit down in my seat. All right, as I mentioned before, the U8 Sports Festival is on Friday. Today, we're going to have some training. This is going to be combat training, and will be different than what you're used to. Do you understand? Aizawa asks, getting a nod from us. All right, now go get changed. Aizawa says, pressing a button, and the costume doors slide out from the wall. I walk over to the number 20 slot and pull out my AMA suit, and I can see it's been modified. Some parts of it are now green, instead of their normal black. I like it more this way, to be honest. There's also a pair of pistols inside. I requested weapons with my suit, but I guess no rifles. Pulling the pistols out, I see they're loaded with non-lethal rounds. RBB bullet forms. They did let me keep the knives, however. I walk over to the changing room and pull off my shirts, and I feel a tap on my shoulder. How did you get all of those scars, Midori bro? Kirishima asks, as almost every boy looks at me. I sigh, knowing this would happen eventually. Years upon years of combat training, and actual combat. I have 27 scars on my chest alone, most of them from knife wounds. I explain, touching my recent scar, just below my ribs. How are you alive? Kaminari asks, a look of horror on his face. A mix of advanced medial technology, and my own unwillingness to die. If you ever find yourself in a life or death situation, don't give up. Find something, or someone to fight for. Find someone to return to. Find something to fixate on, and use that as determination to fight. I explain, causing the entire room to go quiet. So manly. Kirishima murmurs as we all continue changing. I walk out of the changing room, dressed in my armor, with the M9s at my hips, and my knives in forearm sleeves. When I walk out onto the field, some of my classmates are already out, and there are also people I don't recognize. A kid with silver spiky hair who looks like a silver version of Kirishima, a girl with bright orange hair, and a girl with what looks like vines for hair. Eventually, people stop coming out of the changing rooms, and we find ourselves facing a group of 20 students we don't recognize for the most part, save for Monoma. Alright. As you can see, you are going to be fighting each other. This will be a 20-on-20 team fight. Aizawa says, walking out on the field. Standing next to him is Vlad King, a pro hero who controls BLD as his power. This match is fairly simple. First team to knock out or restrain all of the members on the other team will be the winners. Vlad King says, before some kid on the other side raises his hand. It's the silver-haired kid who likes a rip-off Kirishima. Or maybe the other way around. Why are we doing this? The kid asks, followed by mumbles on both sides. Why you may Nizu asks, popping out from Aizawa's scarf. Most people leap back in shock, while I just start laughing. Principal Nizu, was this your plan? I ask, smiling under my mask. Yes it was, Mr. Midoriya. I wanted to see if Class 1B could keep up with a combat-hardened class. Nizu proclaims, getting me to laugh harder. What's so funny? Monoma snaps as I stop laughing. Oh, that's simple. You don't stand a chance. I reply, pulling off my helmet and smiling, it's 20-on-20, we'll be fine. The silver-haired kid says, smacking his fists together. You won't. Midori bro here beat all 19 of us in a 19-on-1 fight. None of you stand a chance. Kirishima says, clapping me on the shoulder. You know what, let's make a bet. If I can beat the entirety of Class 1B, Class 1B will have to concede that they have no chance in hell is beating us. Deal. I say, turning to face Aizawa, Nizu, and Vlad. I'm okay with it. You good, Vlad? Aizawa asks, looking at the Class 1B teacher. If and when you lose, I demand a personal apology, along with your removal from the sports tournament. Vlad King says, looking at me. I nod, and Nizu claps his little paws. Let's begin. Class 1A except for Midoriya, please clear the field. Nizu says, and Class 1A walks off of the field, standing next to Aizawa. You better not lose, you DMN nerd. Bakugo shouts, followed by cheers from the class as I roll out my neck. Go get him. Kirishima shouts as Class 1B gets ready, Izuku. Good luck. Kyoka shouts as I pull my helmet on. I shoot her a thumbs up and get ready. All fighters ready. Nizu asks. I nod, and Class 1B follows. Begin. Nizu shouts. I unleash my quirk to the second level as the first wave charges me. I block kicks, air waves, and punches, returning my own fearsome blows. The members of 1B begin to drop like flies as I take more than a dozen in a minute. Who's next? I ask as I face the remaining members. It's the orange-haired girl whose hands have grown, the silver-haired kid who now appears to be made of steel, Monoma, who I still have no idea what he does, and the girl with vine hair. Tetsu. Let Monoma take your quirk. Shiozaki, try to wrap him up. I'll distract him. The orange-haired girl says, and the others nod. Well then, looks like I'll have to get serious. I say, unleashing my quirk another level. I can feel the black tendrils appear on my arms and legs. Shiozaki. Tetsu shouts, charging me, with Monoma only steps behind him. I try to move, but my legs are wrapped in vines. Even my pistols are blocked. Get moving, you DMN nerd. Bakugo shouts, and I feel a punch rock against my helmet. It doesn't crack, but it took some damage. I start to play defense, blocking as many punches as I can, trying to find openings, but when it's 2-on-1, and they're both made of steel, it's kinda hard. At one point, my helmet is knocked off, and Monoma smiles, then deactivates his quirk. Time to see what your quirk really is. Monoma smiles, then reaches out and touches my forehead. You fing idiot? I shout, ripping through the vines as dark flames burst from Monoma. What is this? Aghe. Monoma shouts, dropping to his knees. You fing idiot, my quirk is too powerful for anyone who hasn't had extensive training to use. It took me years and thousands of hours of practice to be able to control it. I snarl as all of Class 1A and 1B look at Monoma as he begins to change, a black fire covering his body. Midoriya-Aizawa begins to say, but I cut him off. Get everyone out of here now. He's going into the 4th stage. At this point only I can fight him. Get everyone away now. I shout, black fire covering my own body, my eyes turning pitch black. Monoma, are you okay? Tetsu asks, only to be grabbed by his throat and tossed aside by a now bloodthirsty and insane Monoma. He's covered in a black fire and red tendrils, and his bloodlust is obvious. Get out of here. This is not up for debate. I shout, charging Monoma, and tackling him out of the way. Everyone get out of here. Midoriya, let us help. Aizawa shouts as Class 1B scrambles away and Class 1A looks on horror. Aizawa, get the hell out of here. You can't erase this, not now. I shout as I try to pin Monoma, but he throws me off, and I bounce back to my feet and sprint toward him again. He releases a guttural cry, and we engage in a flurry of punches, throwing combos so fast and so powerful, dust billows away from us in waves. God damn it. Everyone get out of here. Let's go. Aizawa shouts as everyone begins to run. Me and Monoma continue to grapple, throwing punches, kicks, and trying to pin each other. At one point, I throw Monoma into the ground, and a crater forms from the impact. He gets right back up, and we continue to exchange blows, knocking each other back, and repeat this pattern after fighting for 20+ minutes. We both land heavy blows on one another, blowing each other back. Both me and Monoma drop to our knees and spit BLD out our mouths. We're both hitting with all of our strength, and we're not backing down. I force myself to my feet and get ready to go again. I need to end this now, otherwise I might be too injured to fight. Izuku. Kyoka shouts, running toward me. She's still a few yards away, but she's closing fast. Get out of here. You can't do any dash, I shout, but before I can continue, I get punched in the face by Monoma and go flying, crashing into a tree a dozen yards away. I've got broken ribs now. Great. Kill. Monoma shouts, picking up Kyoka by her throat and throwing her. She lands on the, bloodied and in pain. She tries to get up, but Monoma kicks her, and she loses all of her breath. Monoma then kneels over her, and begins to strangle her. I let loose an enraged howl at the sight, and suddenly, everything goes black. I wake up on an endless red plain. What the hell? I ask to myself as I stand up, wearing nothing but a pair of shorts. This is my world. Welcome. A voice behind me says. I turn around and see a figure in a red cloak behind me. The figure lifts its hood, revealing a black skull with eyes inside. The eyes are entirely black, except for a red iris. Who are you? And why am I here? I ask. My name is Avon. I am a Reaper. You're here because we need to talk. The figure says, sounding like he's explaining something to a toddler. A Reaper like the Grim Reaper? I ask, and Avon laughs. The Grim Reaper is a myth, kid. Reaper are immortal beings who control when a person dies. It's at our own discretion who dies and how. I happen to be your personal Reaper. But you're kinda unique. You accidentally drew on my power when your parents were killed. I wasn't expecting it, but you did it anyways. That power that used to fight, the stuff you Reaper's vessel, is my power. Crazy. Avon says, sounding happy. So wait, I don't have a quirk after all? I ask, and Avon nods. So what did you want to talk about? Oh, that's simple. You're about to go into your 5th stage. Until now, I've been controlling you in that state because I got bored. But now, you need to be able to control your power for the simple reason that I can't it. So, I'm letting you take over. Have fun. Avon says, and everything goes black again. My eyes snap open, and I explode forward, grabbing Kyoka from Monoma. I set her down and turn around, facing Monoma. Izuku, is that you? Kyoka asks, touching her throat where Monoma grabbed her. It's me. Get out of here. Please. I say, and she starts moving away. I look over myself, and realize how much more powerful the 5th stage. I'm now wearing the flames-like armor, which hovers over my Ama's suit. It even has a helmet, similar to my Ama's. Kill. Kill. Monoma shouts, rushing toward me. When he gets close, I grab his head and slam it into the ground, cracking it around the impact zone. Stop it. You will not kill anyone today. I say as Monoma's power fades. Unconscious. I stop my own power and collapse instantly from the pain. Gritting my teeth, I stand up and walk over to Aizawa and Class 1A who are walking toward me. Izuku, Kyoka says, running at me and giving me a crushing my hug, causing me to wince. Watch the ribs, Kyoka, I say through gritted teeth. Glad to see you're alive. What happened to Monoma? Aizawa asks, looking at me. He's unconscious. Probably will be for a while. Reaper's vessel took a toll on his body. It's not something easily controlled. I say as Kyoka lets go of me. Izuku, what was that form you took at the end of the fight? Kyoka asks, a look of concern on her face. I managed to control the 5th stage of my quirk. I used my power to its fullest extent for the first time. I say, lying a little bit, well, whatever you did win the fight and nobody was seriously injured, save you and Monoma. We got lucky. Now, to Recovery Girl. You need to get checked. Aizawa says, but before I can go, Nizu walks up to me. Mr. Midoriya, after you are healed, I need to speak to you. I was planning to do so anyway, but now I really need to talk to you, especially with that show of immense power. Nizu says, a serious expression on his face. I only nod in response, and walk toward the main UA building. Well, for the 2nd time in my office, you're not doing too bad. You have a few cracked ribs, and some minor internal damage, but should be good in a second. Now stay still. Recovery Girl says as she kisses the left side of my chest where I broke my ribs. How's Monoma doing? I ask, looking at his unconscious form. He'll be fine. He has a serious concussion, but I'll be able to heal him. What did you do to him to hurt this badly? Recovery Girl asks as I pull on my shirt and armor, which only has minor damage. Slammed his head into the ground so hard the ground cracked. I reply, walking out of the room. I walk for a few minutes, then end up in Nizu's office. There's other people in the office. One is pro hero EdgeShot, and the other is a man in a detective's outfit. Midoriya, please come sit. Nizu says, gesturing to a seat across from his desk. What is this about, Nizu? I ask, looking at him. Well, to put it simply, we need to know everything you know about your quirk. Your quirk is on an insane level, considering it's powerful enough to rip a man's arm clean off his shoulder and kill people in one punch. How much do you know about your quirk? Nizu asks, looking at me, so why are they here? I ask, pointing to EdgeShot and the detective. Izuku Midoriya, that's your name, right? We checked your official medical records from before you went Black Ops. You were listed as not having a quirk. For you to suddenly manifest one is not biologically possible, to say the least. How do you explain that? EdgeShot asks and I tense up. And don't even bother lying. I'm able to tell. The detective says, all right, fine. I learned this during my fight, when I almost lost control of my power. The name given to my so-called quirk is more accurate than I realized. I went to another world, and met a man named Avon who claimed to be what he called a reaper. He described himself as an immortal being who decided when and how people died. According to him, when my parents were killed by a villain, I took some of his power. And since then, I've been access a portion of that power, and use it much like a quirk. I'm quite literally a vessel for a reaper's power. I explain, watching the eyebrows of those in attendance rise the more I talked. That's, simply put, a crazy story. But he's not lying. I can tell. The detective says, and Nizu looks at EdgeShot. Can you prove it? EdgeShot asks, looking at me, have you ever seen a quirk of any kind that does what mine does? I go through a transformation, all of my physical abilities enhance, and armor made of black flames appear on my body. I reply, opening my second form, showing them my entirely black eyes. Actually, he can prove it, Avon says, and he appears made of black flames in front of me. What the hell is this Midoria? EdgeShot asks, looking at the dark figure. He's not doing anything. My name is Avon. I can only hold this form for a few more seconds, but what Midoriya's saying is the truth. I am a reaper and he gets his power from me. Now, goodbye. Avon then disappears. Do you believe me now? I ask, looking at the shocked men before me. I suppose we have to. Midoriya, you're dismissed. Nizu and I stand up. Wait, I'm going to put in an offer for you intern at my agency after the UA Sports Festival. I want to see that in action. Put in a good showing and you'll get a ton of offers. Consider my offer. I want to help train you. EdgeShot says. I'll consider it. Now, if you excuse me, I have to leave. I say, then walk out of the room. EdgeShot wants to give an internship. Interesting. He's an interesting but certainly powerful hero. I'll consider it. Friday comes way too fast. Me and Kyoko walk to school together, and then get ambushed by reporters. Are you two UA students? A female reporter asks, shoving a microphone in my face. The camera isn't much farther away. Yep. Your point. I ask, looking at the woman, who's significantly shorter than me, what do you think about having the UA Sports Festival so soon after the USJ incident, where several villains were killed? The reporter asks, and I smile, I think it's good. It shows that no matter what happens, heroes don't back down from a challenge. So what, we got attacked? We're gonna do this and you can't stop us. That's the true heroic spirit. We got knocked down and we're back on our feet and ready to go. I say, and the reporter smirks, were you a victim of that attack? The reporter asks, and I just laugh. So I ask, and the reporter smirks again. Are you aware that a CIA operative was killed in the line of duty, trying to kill villains? The reporter asks, and I feel rage burn through my system. I can feel my iris turn black, and the reporter's eyes widen. Izuku, let's go. Kyoko murmurs, grabbing my hand. That operative died saving me, not killing villains. You spreading half-truths doesn't do you any good. He didn't kill a single person, and he died a hero. He was a CIA operative, yes. But he died doing what he thought was right, and that was protecting the students of Class 1A. I would suggest leaving before something happens. I say, shooting a glare at the reporter. Me and Kyoko walk away from the shocked reporter. You handled that well. Kyoko says as we walk toward the main building, not as well as I had wanted to. I'll be all over the news tonight, but damn it, I don't care. That man was my partner, and he died trying to save all of you. I am not going to let the press tarnish his reputation. I need to speak to Aizawa. I growl as we walk toward Class 1A. Kyoko asks as we walk into the classroom, Midoriya and Kyoko, why are you almost late? Ida asks as we both go and sit down, ran into a beach of a reporter who's spreading lies. Bakugo, you're gonna be giving a speech at the opening of the sports festival, right? I ask him, and he turns around to face me, what about it? He asks, an angry look on his face. I want to speak instead. I have to clear some things up. I say, like what? Bakugo asks, a confused look on his face. I need to explain who my partner was. He died trying to protect this class, and people think he was just there as a killing machine. I need to clear that up. I say, my voice breaking at the end. I'm mad and I'm showing it. I'm good with it. That man was brave, and he deserves better than that. Bakugo says, and I nod my thanks, now to confirm it with Iza, I'll tell Present Mike. I agree with you. The both of you saved this class, me and tell them. Izawa says, walking in. Thank you. I nod and Izawa nods back now, go get changed. You can't wear your costumes, since that's unfair. You'll be wearing your PE uniforms to level the playing field. Now go get changed, and head toward the stadium. Don't talk to any reporters, at least try not to. Izawa says, waving us out. Hold up. Guys, I want to do something special for my partner. Does anyone here know how to do an American military salute? I ask, stopping everyone in the hall. Minutes later, we're waiting in a waiting room in the stadium waiting for the event to start. Who do you think is gonna win this? Kaminari asks, and everyone points at me. No, I'm gonna hold back. I'm only gonna use up to the second stage of my power, unless absolutely necessary. If I used all of my power, I might level the stadium. I say and everyone sighs. I would believe it. You fought Monoma, who was just as powerful as you, and you broke the ground slamming him around. Todoroki says, and the rest of class nods. Maybe. I shrug. Will all contestants head to the center of the stadium? We're about to start. Present Mike shouts over the intercom. I stand up and crack my neck. Grabbing my knives, I strap them to my arms and walk out, followed by my class. We walk out into the stadium and walk toward the stage, where Midnight is standing, dressed in her normal outfit. Is it okay for her to be wearing that around high schoolers? She is the R-rated hero after all. Kirishima says, a slight blush on his face. Mineta gives a big thumbs up, and I smack him in the back of the head as the rest of the classes show up. All right, now that all of the classes are here, Izuku Midoriya, from Class 1A will give a speech to kick off the ceremony. Present Mike says, eliciting cheers from the audience. I walk up onto the stage and grab the mic off of the stand, and look out among the crowd. I'm Izuku Midoriya, and I'll try to keep this brief, but no promises. Many people in this stadium and around the world are wondering if it's okay to have this event so soon after the USJ incident. You know what I think. I think you all should be ashamed for thinking that. This school is a school that prides itself on being resilient. This school has produced an impressive track record in terms of alumni. All Might, Endeavor, Hawks, and many famous pro heroes have come from this school. I say, and the crowd seems to hang on my every word now, to address some rumors. The rumor that a CIA operative died in the USJ incident after trying to execute villains is not entirely true. The CIA operative was there that day. But he was not there to kill villains. He was there to protect the members of Class 1A, our teacher, Eraserhead, and 13, both of whom were severely injured in the attack. Eraserhead had his arms snapped like twigs by a monster called Nomu, and the operative who died, along with his partner, brought the beast down and then tried to fight 4 high-powered villains. One operative died, and his partner finished the villains off in a brutal fashion. The man who died is a hero, a truer hero than many pro-heroes today. He sacrificed himself to protect people he didn't know. Some of the pro-heroes squirm when they hear those words. But they need to hear them. If we didn't have this tournament, it would be disgraceful and would be staining that man's life and heroism. He died so that me and my classmates could live to fight another day. I vow to win this tournament, if only to honor that man. I don't want to win this for the fame or the exposure. I want to win to honor a man who died mere feet from me. Need to win this. I need to honor a man who made the ultimate sacrifice, who died so that we could have a chance. If that man's family is currently watching, I send my regards and my respect to your fallen soldier. I say, then snap into a military salute, and my class follows suit. We hold it for a few minutes as the entire crowd goes completely silent. Save for some crying in the audience, I want to wrap up by saying this. To anyone who spreads rumors, stop. You are disrespecting a man who died honorably. To the world, follow me as I finish this speech with something you should all know. Please. I shout, raising my hand. The entire stadium explodes as they finish their statement. I put the microphone back as the audience cheers, shaking the stadium with how loud it is. I raise my fist and walk off the stage. What an opening speech. That brought tears to my eyes. Wait, Eraserhead in crying. People, this is a first. Eraserhead in crying. Present Mike cries as the crowd continues to go crazy. What Midoriya said is correct. I'm crying because of the man that sacrificed himself is a true hero. Aizawa says, regaining control over himself. Now, onto the first event. Midnight, would you like to explain it? Present Mike says, and Midnight nods. The first event is the obstacle course. You will have to run the course, dealing with the obstacles. Your place in the event will help to determine your place in the next round. Top 42 continue. Now, walk toward the south tunnel. That is your start. Midnight says, and we all walk toward the south tunnel. I power up quirk to the second level, and get ready to move. And start. Present Mike shouts, and everyone starts running forward. For my part, I manage to pull ahead to the front and avoid the crowding in the tunnel. And with the start, Midoriya is in the front, with Todoroki as a close second, with Bakugo not far behind the pair. Present Mike says, but as I start to run faster, I'm frozen in place by Todoroki, who starts running ahead of me. I rip through the ice and keep running, as Bakugo flies overhead. I pull my legs through the ice and continue to run, but spot giant robots. This is first obstacle. Robo Inferno. These are the 0-pointer robots from the entrance exam. You can either take them out or WHOA. Todoroki has just frozen the robots. Present Mike shouts as I see all of the robots freeze. I manage to make it under the towering figures, and they fall behind me. I really hope Kyoka is doing okay. Next up, the fall. It's a giant pit, but you won't die from the fall. Just be careful. Present Mike says as Todoroki more or less skates across the metal wires between columns in the pit, and Bakugo just flies over again. I, on the other hand, leap from platform to platform. After we cross the pit, me, Todoroki, and Bakugo are neck to neck, until we reach the final obstacle. The minefield. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a giant minefield. The mines aren't lethal, but they are loud and colorful, enough to distract most people. But what is this? Midoriya is going in with little to no caution. Present Mike says, shocked, as I sprint full tilt into the minefield. His quirk reduces some of the damage he takes, and he's not easily scared. A mine going off isn't going to scare him. Aizawa says, and I smile knowingly. He knows I'm a soldier, so he's not wrong. I've gone through minefields before, so I have no fear. I dodge most of the mines, and the ones I do step on, I just tank right through. By the time I reach the end, I'm covered in pink dust and dirt, but who cares? And the winner is Izuku Midoriya. The young man with the rousing opening speech is the winner of the first event. Present Mike shouts as I run into the stadium, greeted by roars and cheers. Todoroki comes in second, with Bakugo as a close third. All of Class 1A makes it, along with all of Class 1B. The final two are a girl from the support course and a guy from general studies named Shinso. You got first, Izuku. Good job, baby. Kyoka says, running up and giving me a hug. We're on national TV, you know. I whisper in her ear as I hug her back. Kyoka blushes and lets go of me. Bakugo, along with Kirishima, Mina, Shiro, and Kaminari are all dying of laughter, while the crowd is eyeing. Oh my god. I hadn't told my parents we were dating yet. Kyoka says, and I start laughing at her expression. Well then I'm fed. Are your parents here? I say, still laughing throughout the whole thing. Yeah. Kyoka sighs and shakes her head, making me laugh even harder. That was adorable, earlobes. Bakugo says, walking over toward us, shut up, Bakugo. Come talk to me when you ask out you know who. I smirk, tilting my head toward Uraraka. That. Shut up, you demon soldier boy. Bakugo shouts, stomping away. He likes Uraraka. Odd couple. Although, she does like him, for some odd reason. Kyoka muses and I smile, I didn't know she liked him. Interesting. I say, before Midnight begins to say something. The next event is gonna be A cavalry battle. Midnight exclaims as a giant spinner stops on the words, cavalry battle. Now, here's how it's going to work. Each team's rider will wear a headband with points on it. How do the points work, you ask? Well, it's pretty simple. The points go up the higher you placed, with first having Midnight says, and I finish her sentence, 10 million points. I say, looking at my points. Instantly, almost all eyes are on me with malicious intent. You must make teams of 2 to 4 people, and whoever has the most points at the end of the match wins. You will have 15 minutes to pick your teams. Midnight says, and everyone goes to pick teams. I'm on your team, Izuku. Don't worry. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 says, putting her hand on my shoulder. Thanks. Naos. I murmur, and I then feel a tap on my shoulder. I want to be on your team. You're nicer than most people, and 𝐒𝐿𝐵 is great too. Uraraka says, putting her hand on mine. Ida, you want in on this? I ask, looking over at the blue-haired boy. No. I want to beat you under my own power. Sorry, not this time. Ida says, and I nod in response. I got an idea. 𝐒𝐿𝐵 says, then whispers in my ear. Gotcha. Tokoyami. You got a team yet? I ask, walking over to the bird-headed boy. No. He says, looking at me, you want to join my team. We could really use you. I say, a smile on my face, I suppose. He says, and I nod in thanks. Question is, who's gonna be the rider? 𝐒𝐿𝐵 asks, and I smile. I got an idea for that. I say, looking at her. Now that all the teams are ready, let's look at the top teams. Present, Mike says as the crowd roars, Team Jiro, consisting of Jiro, Midoriya, Tokoyami, and Achiko. Team Bakugo, with Kirishima, Ishido, and Siro, and finally, Team Todoroki, with Yaoyorozu, Ida, and Kaminari. Present, Mike shouts, and the crowd gets louder. Why am I the rider, Izuku? 𝐒𝐿𝐵 asks as I roll out my neck. I'm in the front, with Todoroki and Uraraka in the back. You're the liest. Pretty simple. Uraraka is going to make us weightless for a bit anyway, so she'll be only weight for a while. Plus, your quirk is ranged, and it'll work to help fend off hands. Just jam the jacks into the ears of anyone who gets too close. Uraraka, make use weight less on my signal, alright? I ask, and Uraraka nods. What's my job? Tokoyami asks as I roll out my neck. Overwatch and offense. Keep other teams at bay with dark shadow. We discussed my purpose, right? I say, and the rest of the group nods. At and begin. Present, Mike shouts, and a loud alarm blares. All of the teams charge us, but they're far enough away that I'm incredibly worried. Uraraka, now. I say as I charge my power to the 3rd level, black tendrils appearing on my body. Uraraka makes all of us weightless, and I bend my knees a bit. It's a race for the 10 million points. What's this? Team Jiro has flown into the air, and is above all of the other competition. Present, Mike exclaims as I jump, and we fly a few dozen feet into the air. That plan was either really stupid, or really smart, Izuku. Jiro says as we slowly fall down. Nice timing, Midoriya. But what are we gonna do when we land? Uraraka asks as we closer to the ground. We be careful. No engagements unless we have to. Brace. I shout as we land on the ground, and regain our footing. Uraraka releases the anti-gravity, and we take a breath, but only for a split second. A massive ice floes shoots our way, courtesy of Todoroki. We dodge it and start moving away from Todoroki's group, but with Ida as their lead, they begin to close on us. Tokoyami! I shout as Denki begins to charge up. Gotcha. Dark shadow. Tokoyami shouts, and the dark, bird-like ghost charges at Ida, making his change direction suddenly, and Kaminari misses his attack. Good. 𝐒𝐿𝐵, you doing good? I ask, as we move away from Todoroki's group. Die. I hear a loud voice shout. Bakugo comes flying over, and before I can react, Dark Shadow knocks him away, but his team catches him before he can hit the ground. Good job. I shout back at Tokoyami, who nods in thanks, but, before we can go anywhere else, a massive ice floe is thrown our way. Another one appears on right, and they form a point in front of us. You're done for, Midoriya? Todoroki says, charging toward us. Not if I have anything to say about it. I shout, lifting my leg, and slamming it down hard into the ground. I send a massive line of earth toward Todoroki's team, who barely dodges it, thanks to Ida's quick reaction time. But now they're wary. 2 minutes left. Present Mike shouts, and I tense up, feeling adrenaline filling my system. I didn't want to use this until later, but I suppose now I have to. Recipro burst. Ida shouts, and Todoroki's team shoots toward me. I slam my foot down again, but Ida is just too fast. I shout, as Tokoyami and Uraraka WHP around while I back up, and Todoroki's and misses by inches. What even was that? Jiro asks as Ida looks at us. It's an overclocking of my engines, but I can't hold it for long. It should be enough though. Ida says as he charges again. Out of my way, half and half. Bakugo shouts as he explodes towards us. Tokoyami! I shout, slamming my right foot down as hard I can, cracking the ground in front of Ida, nearly causing him to fall. Tokoyami calls Dark Shadow, who moves in front of Bakugo, who only gets closer. When Bakugo is only inches away, and Todoroki's hand is a few inches from the headband. And that's it. The top 4 teams will move onto the 4th round. First up, Team Jiro, with 10,425 points. Second place, Team Todoroki. Third place, Team Bakugo, and 4th place, Team Shinso. From the general course. Now, we'll take a half-hour break to set up the stadium. Present Mike says, causing Bakugo to go flying past, and Todoroki's team to stop dead in their place. We won. Uraraka cheers as Kyoka gets down. That we did. I sigh as Kyoka hugs me again. I need to talk to Midoriya. In private. Todoroki says, looking at me. Sure. I say, as Kyoka lets go of me, are you gonna be alright? Kyoka asks, looking at me with concern, I'm not that worried. Besides, you have to talk to your parents. I smirk as Kyoka blushes again. Fine. Kyoka says, giving me a kiss on the cheek. Todoroki walks away, heading toward a student entrance, and I follow him. When we're alone, I look at him. So, what do you want to talk about? I ask, leaning against the concrete walls. Are you aware of quirk marriages? Todoroki asks, looking at me. I've heard of them. I say, wondering where this is going, I am product of one. My father, Endeavor, bribed my mother's parents, and had an arranged marriage with her. He wanted to create a perfect successor, and after several tries, he got me. He then brutally trained me, and my mother, having already lived through hell, thought my right-left side was unsightly, and burned me with boiling water. Todoroki says, putting a hand over his scar. Jesus. I knew Endeavor was a son of a beach, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. I snarl, feeling disgusted and enraged. My father wants me to surpass all might, and he might see you as a stepping stone for me. So, if we face, I pray you can hold your own with less of your power. Todoroki says, walking away. Todoroki. Why do you want to become a hero? I ask, causing him to stop, I suppose. I want to prove to my father that I can become one without using his power. Todoroki says, looking at me confused. Look, I'm gonna warn you no. You plan to use half of your power, simply because you spite your father. But this isn't life or death. In the real world, where people do die, I've learned something. People who hold back in battle tend to die earlier. Consider that. I say, then walk toward the festival to get some food. While I'm walking, I think about what Todoroki said. A stepping stone. Less of your power. Izuku. Izuku. Kyoka says, running up to me and grabbing my hand. Yeah, sorry I spaced out. I say, giving her a smile and kissing her on the cheek. Ahem. I'm Kyoto Kujiro, and this is my wife, Mikajiro. You're Izuku Midoriya, right? A man walks up, a stern look on his face. He's got long blonde hair, and Kyoka clearly got her eyes from him, while almost everything else she got from her mother, who looks like an older, shyer version of her. Yes, sir. I nod in response and stick out my hand. How old are you, Midoriya? He asks, slowly shaking my hand. 15. I reply as Jiro looks between the two of us nervously. How did you meet my daughter? He asks, and I smile a bit at the memory. She ran into me at Dagoba Beach. I was sitting down after a run, and I stood up to head back to my apartment, and she ran into me. I replied, "How long have you been dating?" "About 5 days or so." "Now, final question. What kind of music do you like?" He asks, a very serious expression on his face, "American and British rock." My mentor had a thing for it. I reply, and the man breaks into a huge smile, and pulls me into a hug, shocking me and Kyoka, while Mrs. Jiro just laughs. Dad, what was that?" Kyoka asks, a confused expression on her face, sorry for the serious act. "I had to see how you would react under pressure. You did pretty well, to be honest. Are your parents here? I want to speak to them, and learn how they raised such a wonderful young man." Mr. Jiro says, smiling. My face drops, and Mr. Jiro seems to notice it. My parents died when I was really young. I don't remember much about them." I say, a sad smile on my face, "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize." Mr. Jiro says, looking ashamed, "You couldn't have known. It's fine. So do you play?" I ask, changing the subject. "Yes. I can play guitar, drums, and I can sing a bit, although that's more my wife's strong suit. How about you, young man?" Mr. Jiro asks, and I smile. "Guitar. I can kinda sing, but guitar my strong suit." I say, getting a smile out of Mrs. Jiro, "Have you ever heard Kyoka sing?" Mrs. Jiro asks, and she pulls out her phone. "No." I say, smiling, "Please don't show him, it's embarrassing." Kyoka says, but her cries falls on deaf ears as Mrs. Jiro pulls a video. It's a video of Kyoka holding a microphone. She hits play, and Kyoka starts singing. Harpies, Fes, Colors and Promises. How to be brave. How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? But watching you stand alone. Kyoka sings. Song at top your voice. I murmur, I know it's terrible. I feel like it's not. It's appealing. I say, grabbing her hand, and effectively shutting her up. You two are too cute together. Okay, let me get a picture. Mr. Jiro says, pulling out his phone. "No. Izuku, put me down." Kyoka says as I pick her up bridal style. "Nope. Not until you smile for your parents." I reply, flashing her a smirk. Fine." Kyoka says, flashing a fake smile. "Not gonna happen." I tickle her, and she bursts out laughing and smiles for real. The phone snaps and Mr. Jiro gives me a thumbs up. Suddenly, I find phone jacks hovering at eye level. "Never do that again." Kyoka growls, a blush on her face. She looks cute right now, but I probably shouldn't say that right now, got it? I say, and the earphones retreat. I slowly set her down and she punches me in the shoulder as I stand back up. "Hey, what was that for?" I ask, rubbing my shoulder. "Picking me up uninvited." Kyoka says, a small frown on her face, "You're cute when you're mad." I say, smiling, "Shut up." Kyoka murmurs, smiling a bit. I sit with Kyoka and her mom and dad for several minutes, and I get something small to eat, 'cause I'm pretty hungry. We talk about music, Kyoka, and the festival. Kyoka's parents are amazing, and I can tell they love her. "Will all contestants please return to the stadium?" I repeat, "Will all contestants return to the stadium?" Aizawa says over the mic, and I groan. "DMN. Well, it certainly was nice to meet you too, but I think that's our cue to go." I say, standing up. "Come here. Give me a hug." Mrs. Jiro says, pulling me into a hug. "Take good care of her. She's tough, but she could always use someone to look out for her. Keep her safe, will you?" Mrs. Kyoka whispers in my ear, before pulling away. I give her a small nod, receive another hug from Mr. Kyoka. "What did my mom tell you?" Kyoka asks as we walk away, hand in hand. "Nothing I didn't already know." I reply, giving her a smile. "So, what did she tell you?" Kyoka pressures, and I just smile again. "Nothing important. Just told me to be careful." I reply, and she frowns. As we walk toward the stadium, we see Yaoyorozu running towards us. She's dressed oddly though, in a cheerleading outfit. "Jiro, hurry, we gotta put these on." According to Kaminari and Mineta, Mr. Aizawa needed us to wear these. Yaoyorozu says, and I just start laughing. This is too funny. Yaoyorozu is looking at me confused and Jiro is shaking her head. "Let me get this straight. You trusted Kaminari and 𝐒𝐮𝐦𝐸𝐷𝐿 when they told you to wear something that would expose skin. I ask, and Yaoyorozu's face drops. Those ja. I want to kill them. Yaoyorozu says, her face growing dark. Is anyone else wearing them? I ask as we walk into the stadium. No. Just me. I haven't found everyone else yet. Yaoyorozu says, and I nod. Go change. I'll deal with the perverts. I said, cracking my knuckles. Minutes later we're all out on the field, minus the girls. When they walk out, wearing just their normal uniforms, Kaminari and 𝐒𝐻𝐸𝐷𝐿 seem rather disappointed. Were you expecting something different, you two BSs? I ask, smacking them in the back of the head. Oh. Kaminari says, wisely keeping his mouth shut. On the other hand, I expected them to be in revealing cheerleading uniforms. It would have been amazing. 𝐒𝐻𝐸𝐷𝐿 says, literally foaming at the mouth. Well then, you should have made up a better plan. Considering my girlfriend was supposed to be part of this, you ain't getting any slack. I snarl, picking up 𝐒𝐻𝐸𝐷𝐿 walking over to Jiro. Jiro, can you tape this guy up? I ask, holding the squirming shorty. Sure. Jiro says, wrapping him in tape, but leaving his eyes and mouth exposed. Thanks. I say, then go set 𝐒𝐻𝐸𝐷𝐿 down by the entrance, now to announce the final event. What's it gonna be? A one-on-one fighting tournament. And here's the matches. Midnight says, and a chart appears on the screen. First match, Shinso and Midoria. Second match, Ida and Hatsum RD match. Kaminari and Jiro H match. Jiro and Todoroki H match. Yaoyorozu and Tokoyami H match. Mina and Aoyama H match. Kirishima vs Ojiro H match. Uraraka vs Bakugo. I wish to pull out of the match. Ojiro says, surprising everyone. I turn to look at him and seen something I've seen before. But this is a chance for pros to see you. Are you gonna give that up? Ida asks, walking over toward him. Ida. Wait. I say, and I walk over to Ojiro. Why? I ask, keeping my voice quiet. Shinso did something to me and the rest of my team. I think it's his quirk. He can brainwash you as you answer one of his questions. I only snapped out of it midway through. Just be careful. Ojiro whispers back, are you two done discussing? Midnight asks, and I nod and back away. Ojiro doesn't wish to continue, based on some circumstances brought about by his teammate. What do you say to letting someone else take his place? I ask, looking at Midnight with a calm look on my face. I agree. The springtime of youth is flowing through the air. The fifth place team will elect someone to go in the event. Midnight proclaims, and I sigh. We choose Tetsu. The fifth group shouts, pointing at the steel boy. He nods in thanks, and Kirishima examines his opponent. Ojiro, I respect your choice and I know why. Your pride was slaughtered. But, don't take this as the end. Keep fighting. Keep choosing to become better. And ask Hagakure out while you're at it. Become someone to be proud of. I say, clapping him on the shoulder. He nods in thanks and follows everyone off the field, while me and Shinso walk onto the stadium that Cementos built. Now for the first match. It's the winner of both the obstacle course and the cavalry battle, Izuku Midoriya from the hero course, versus the mysterious Hitoshi Shinso from the hero course. Present Mike says, are both fighters ready? Begin. Midnight shouts, and I just start walking toward Shinso. What did Ojiro tell you, I wonder? I also wonder what would happen if I got to fight your little girlfriend. Maybe I'd make her kiss me. Now that would be fun, wouldn't you agree? Shinso says, and I snap. What did you say, you BC? I shout and I feel my body freeze. I win. Shinso smiles as the crowd begins to murmur. Shinso has frozen Midoriya in place. His quirk, of course. It's called brainwashing, and it allows him to control anyone who answers on of his questions. Present Mike shouts as the crowd continues to murmur, now, walk out of the stadium. Shinso says, and my body obeys. I can still think, but I can't do anything. I'm not going out like this. Never looks like I'm gonna have to help. And break. Avon says in my mind, and I feel myself regain control over my body. I'm only a step or so from the edge. What? It seems Midoriya has broken the brainwashing. What is going on? Present Mike says, while I turn around and start walking toward Shinso. How did you break the brainwashing? How did you do it? Shinso asks as I stop a few feet away. I smile, then rush him. I grab his upper arm with my left hand and drag him to the edge of the ring, then toss him out. Shinso is out of bounds. Midoriya wins. Midnight says, and the crowd explodes. I help Shinso up and look at him, a serious expression on my face. I'm not mad at you. You got to me. Very few people can do that. I think that you'll become a great hero. You just need to work on your close combat. Talk to someone about that. If you ever need help, just ask. I say, then walk away. Now for the next match. Tenya Ida, the speedster from the hero course, and Mei Hatsum, the eccentric inventor from the support course. Present Mike says as I head up to where everyone is sitting. You did good. What was with that outburst though? You're usually so calm. Kyoka asks as I sit down next to her. He said something that got under my skin. That's all. I say, and turn to watch Ida's match, which has turned into something of a commercial. At the end, Hatsum actually surrenders. Ida's moving on. He's my next opponent. Hey Kyoka. She already left. I ask, looking around. I suppose her match is next. Next up, the shy rocker Kyoka Jiro of the hero course, and the human taser, Denki Kaminari, also of the hero course. Present Mike shouts as they both walk onto the stadium. Come on Jiro. You got this. You better win, Kaminari. Go get her bro. All of my classmates start shouting encouragement. I, for my part, stay silent until their voices fade. Kyoka. Don't back down. I shout and Kyoka blushes a bit. Fighters ready. Begin. Midnight says, and Kaminari instantly charges, trying to shock Kyoka like a taser, which Kyoka manages to dodge. Then, extending her ear jacks, the jacks plug themselves into his ears, and he drops, from the immense sound wave being drilled into his ears. When Kyoka stops, Kaminari is unconscious. Kaminari is unconscious. Jiro wins. The crowd explodes into cheers. Kaminari is carted off the stadium by medic robots, and Kyoka walks up a few minutes later, getting congratulated by the entire class. Good job, baby. I say, kissing her cheek when she sits back down. I hear Mina and Toru squeal behind us, and I lift my right hand to flip them off, while putting my left arm around her shoulder. Todoroki beats Zero, surprising no one. Tokoyami beats Yaoyorozu by forcing her out of the arena. Mina beats Aoyama, again surprising no one. Kirishima and Tetsu tie, and they'll have a tiebreaker later. Bakugo beats Uraraka, but she put up one hell of a fight. I gotta go. I say, kissing Kyoka on the cheek and standing up. Ida stands up as well. May the best man win. Ida says, sticking out his hand. I shake it, nodding. May the best man win. I repeat as we walk down to the waiting rooms. I pass All Might as I head down. Midoriya. Can we talk? All Might asks and I stop. Sure. I say, turning around to face him. If I'm going to be honest, I didn't think you would be as powerful as you are now. You're an excellent fighter, and you proved me wrong. But All Might says, his voice fading, but I ask, a bit impatient, you have so much darkness inside of you. You're much too dangerous, and you're a killer. That impulse will get the better of you one of these days, and you'll kill someone. Pray that I'm not the one brought in to stop you. All Might says, leaving me with that ominous statement. I walk to the edge of the tunnel and watch as Kirishima and Tetsu arm wrestle to see who'll advance. Kirishima does, but only after Tetsu's arm fails. Now for the first match of the second round. It's Izuku Midoriya versus Tenya Ida. Present Mike shouts as we both walk onto the stage. Fighters ready. Begin. Midnight says, and Ida instantly shoots forward with a flying kick at rib level. Activating my quirk to the second level, I catch his leg inches from my ribs. The amount of force behind the kick and me stopping causes the concrete around my feet to crack. Good try. I say, then let go of his leg and swing at him with a right hook, knocking him to the ground. He gets back up and touches his face where I hit him. He smiles a bit, then starts running circles around me. Your eyes can't keep up with me, can they? Good luck blocking something you can't see. Ida says as he turns into a blur, Ida has turned into a blur on the stage. What will Midoriya do? Present Mike shouts, nothing. I murmur, good match, Midoriya. Ida shouts, then launches a kick at my head no normal person would be able block, even with a speed quirk. You're right. Good match. I shout, catching his leg and spinning, then throwing him out of bounds. Midoriya reacted to that high-speed kick with extreme ease. How was he able to do that? Present Mike asks as Midnight calls the match. Midoriya's quirk upgrades all of his physical abilities, including speed and reaction time. He's faster enough to stop throwing knives or arrows shot at him. Aizawa says, good match Ida. You need to work on your attack strategy. If your opponent is fast enough or strong enough, they'll just stop your kicks. I say, helping Ida up, thank you. We should probably leave. Ida says, and we walk toward the entrance of the arena. As we do, we pass Kyoka who's walking toward the arena. Good luck? I say, kissing her on cheek. Thanks. She smiles and keeps walking. I keep walking as well, but stop when I see Ida's mad face. Why do you do that, Midoriya? Ida asks. We make our way back to the stands. It's called encouragement. I reply as Kyoka and Todoroki get ready to fight. Fighters ready. Fight. Midnight shouts, and Kyoka runs at Todoroki, who shoots an ice flow her way. She dodges and keeps running at him. When gets within range, she gets one of her ear jacks in Todoroki's ear, and Todoroki freezes. Todoroki slams his foot down, fighting through the pain and sound, sending another ice flow towards Kyoka. She dodges this one as well, and goes in to try and punch Todoroki, and he dodges, sending another ice flow. Dodging this one, she reels back for a punch, and Todoroki dodges this punch as well. Then he wins. He catches Kyoka in an ice flow, freezing her in place. Jiro is unable to move. Todoroki wins. Midnight says, and I notice something while Todoroki dissolves the ice. He's trembling. He's cold. Now for the next match. Present Mike says as he walks away. Jiro, you did amazing. Toru says as Kyoka comes and sits down next to me. She's a bit mad, I can just tell. You okay? I ask as I put my arm around her. Oh. I lost. Kyoka murmurs as she leans her head against my shoulder, that doesn't matter. You put up one hell of a fight. You did the best you could. Trust me, that's all that matter. Try hard and things will come to you. I say, and she nods slowly. Tokoyami beats Mina in an easy match, and Kirishima loses to Bakugo under an onslaught of explosions. I gotta go. I'll be back in a bit, okay? I say as I stand up. Kyoka nods and I walk down the stairs, heading toward the arena. Midoriya. I hear a deep voice behind me. I turn around and see Endeavor behind me. Yeah. What do you want? I ask, remembering Todoroki's words, Todoroki will beat you. He has two, in order to become the perfect hero. Endeavor says, getting in my face, Todoroki doesn't have to do anything. I would suggest two things. First, if you want to overcome All Might, do it yourself, and don't put the pressure on Todoroki. Second, I am not someone to be walked over. So get the hell out of my way before I put you in your place. I snarl, bursting into my fourth stage, black flames erupting on my body. I would suggest moving, number 2 hero. I say, and Endeavor moves. I drop my fourth stage when I walk out and up onto the stage, ignoring some of the boos for being late. Why were you late? Todoroki asks, a bored look on his face. Your father. He decided to try rile me up. Sadly, he succeeded. I'm not gonna hold back. So you shouldn't either. Use your flames, Todoroki. I say as Present Mike introduces us. My face is calm, I know that, but my eyes are leaking malicious intent. Oh. I refuse. It's my father's power. I refuse to use it. Todoroki says as Midnight starts the match. I unleash my quirk to the 3rd level, as Todoroki shoots an ice flow my way. Putting my hand out, I stop the ice dead in its tracks, causing it to shoot upward and form a wall. Use it. You cannot beat me the way you are now, and you know it. I say, tapping the ice wall with my fists, and it shatters. Never. Todoroki shouts, sending another ice flow my way. Sighing, I flick my finger almost lazily, and the ice is destroyed. Use it. I say as Todoroki sends another ice flow my way. This one I tap with my foot and it explodes. Oh. Another ice flow, use it. A tap with my hand, no. Another, use it. Destroyed. Another, use it. I shout, slamming my fist into the ice flow, causing it to shatter like glass, sending shards everywhere. BLD also flies from my hand. Split my knuckles. Midoriya and Todoroki seem to be in some kind of power match, even though neither of them have landed a singlet. What is going on? Present Mike asks, confused. This is a battle of wills and pride, not of power. Midoriya is barely using his power, and Todoroki is giving it only half of his quirk. Aizawa says as I sit down, just looking at Todoroki, whose right side is covered in ice crystals. Todoroki, you're an absolute idiot. I say, looking at him sadly, what do you mean? Todoroki asks, sending another ice flow my way. You heard me. You're an idiot. You're using your ice like it's all powerful. Simply put, it's not. Your body can't take the cold. You need your left side as much as you need your left. I say, just smacking it away, redirecting the flow to my side. What do you know about anything? You don't know the hell I've been through. I refuse to use my father's power, no matter the circumstance. Todoroki shouts, sending another, slower, weaker ice flow my way. He's at his limit. Goddammit Todoroki, that power is yours, not your father's. I shout, standing up and smacking the ice flow away. I stalk toward him, smacking ice flows away as he looks panicked. When I get close enough, I pick him up by his collar, lifting him above me. Use your F right side before you lose, you F egotistical B. I shout as Todoroki looks at me, confused. No. I refuse. Todoroki shouts, sending a last-ditch effort of ice up my arm. I freezes up to my shoulder and I just sigh. I flex my arm, and the ice explodes, scratching me. I'm done. You won't fight me with all of your power because you're scared. You're scared of becoming your father. It's not because of that burn, it's not because of what he did to your mom, it's because you are scared. I sigh, then drop him. I walk toward my side of the arena and sit down. Just looking at him. Watching as he tries to get up. Struggling. Midnight. Cementos says, looking at me. Todoroki is unable. Midnight begins to say, but I hold up my hand. He's not. Give him a minute. I say, and Midnight just looks at me. Then, suddenly, a flare of heat and flame appears on the other side of the arena. I smile and stand back up. Shoto. You have. Endeavor begins, but I cut him off. Shut up, you son of a bitch. Todoroki is still himself. He's still rebelling against you. He's just determined as hell to win. I shout as Todoroki stands up. Midoriya. Thank you. Thank you. Todoroki says, smiling as he looks at me, no big deal. You want to finish this. One final exchange, deal. I ask, activating my 4th level, causing black flame to appear all over my body. Deal. Todoroki shouts, charging me. I explode forward at the same time. We collide and a massive explosion rips through the arena. What is going on? I can't see a DMN thing. And what was with that enormous explosion? Present Mike shouts, as the crowd covers their eyes from the explosion. The air was cold, and was suddenly superheated, causing an instant expanding of air, resulting in an explosion. The question is, who won? Aizawa asks as the dust fades. I win. I growl, deactivating my power and dropping to one knee. I'm left standing where me and Todoroki meet. I'm covered in burns and my shirt is destroyed. Todoroki is unconscious in front of me, half of his shirt gone. Todoroki is unconscious. The winner is Midoriya. Midnight says as I force myself to my feet and pick up Todoroki, fireman style. I carry him. Recovery girl. Carrying a rival. A comrade. A friend. I was once a lot like him. Scared of my own DMN power and what it did to me. He got over it. You beat him. I spot Endeavor as I walk toward Recovery Girl. He has a shocked look on his face, one not unlike Aizawa the first time he saw me fight. Brilliant observation skills. Now, I need to take him to Recovery Girl. I say, walking past the towering figure. Midoriya. You are too powerful to be a student here. You could easily be the number 3 hero with your level of power. Why are a student, not a hero? Endeavor asks as I keep walking, I have too much killer's impulse in me. I'm a killer, and I need to get rid of that. When that happens, I'll be a hero. I reply, not looking back. Put him down over here. Are you okay? Recovery girl asks as I set Todoroki down on a hospital bed. I've got second-degree burns all over my chest, but other than that, yeah. I say, and recovery girl nods. She then kisses the of my chest, and my wounds disappear quickly. Thank you. He gonna be alright? I ask, looking at unconscious boy he should be. Here's a shirt. Now go sit in the stands. Recovery girl says, and I nod my thanks. I just hold onto the shirt until I make up into the stands and sit down next to Kyoka. Hello. I say, sitting down next to her. Oh my god. Are you okay? Where are the burns I saw? Kyoka asks, touching my chest. Recovery girl healed me. It wasn't too bad, honestly. Has the next match started? I ask, pulling my shirt on. Not quite. They're still repairing the stage after that explosion. Why did you use your 4th stage? You said you weren't going to. Kyoka asks, as I look at the arena. Todoroki was using all of his power, so it felt fair to use the most powerful stage I could sustain and still fight him. I couldn't have used my 5th stage, since I'm kinda tired. I would have been able to hold for a split second, not much longer. I say, and that's when Kirishima notices me. Midoriya. Are you okay, man? Kirishima asks, as the class gathers around me and Kyoka. I'm fine. Recovery girl works some real wonders. I say, a small smile on my face. The way you fought was insane. You redirected on of Todoroki's ice blasts, using only your hand. That insane man. Kaminari says, and the rest of the class nods. Well, I did use my quirk, but yeah. He was weakened by that point. I couldn't have done it when he was at full power, no way. I say, getting a scoff from Bakugo, is Todoroki gonna be okay? You hit him pretty hard, and we all know how powerful you are. Yaoyorozu asks, a concerned look on her face. He'll be alright. My question is, why are you so concerned? I ask, looking at her, a small smile on my face. She flushes and turns away. Is it not okay to be concerned for a classmate? Yaoyorozu asks, trying to stay calm. It's fine. But you should know he's tough. After all, he was recommended, right? Recovery girl is gonna heal him. He'll be fine. I say, and a voice behind me says something. I already am. Todoroki says, walk over and sitting down a few seats away from me, next to Yaoyorozu. Welcome back to the land of the living. How you feeling, undead man? I ask, joking around better than expected. You did hit me really hard, huh? Todoroki asks, touching his forehead. Head each? I ask, and he nod. Minor concussion. I should be fine by the end of the day, but in the meantime, it gonna hurt for a while. He says, and Yaoyorozu does something unexpected by most people, but I kinda saw it coming. She makes a medical ice pack, and after activating it, gives to Todoroki. Yaoyorozu. Todoroki murmurs, looking at the ice pack. Shut up and put on your head. It'll work better than ice. Yaoyorozu says, and Todoroki obeys. Bakugo wins his match against Tokoyami easily. That means me and Bakugo are in the finals. The match will start in 15 minutes. Both contestants, please head down to the waiting rooms and wait for the match to start. Aizawa says, and I stand up, then walk down to the waiting room. It's quiet and allows me to think. Bakugo is going to go all out. I know that. I can counter his speed and strength pretty easily. That's not an issue. But his sheer tenacity and anger issues is gonna be a problem. Will both contestants please come to the arena? Aizawa asks, and I stand up. I walk down the long tunnel and out into the field. Bakugo and I have the same pace, and we arrive on the platform at the same time. For the final match, we have Izuku Midoriya, the Emerald Demon, and Katsuki Bakugo, the Explosive Fireball. Now, let the match begin. Present Mike shouts as I bounce on a feet a bit to get ready. You'll lose, you know that right? Bakugo snarls, making tiny explosions on his fingers. Doubt it? I reply, The activate up the third level, both fighters ready. Begin. Midnight shouts and we both charge each other. I dodge a close-range explosion and punch Bakugo in the gut, but he responds with a right hook and we knock each other back a few feet. We engage again, and it quickly becomes a battle of blow after blow, with explosions going off in my face, and Bakugo spurting BLD from a busted nose. When we back off, both of us have BLD on our faces. I have burns, and Bakugo has cuts all over his face. My fists are covered in BLD, some of it my own, and Bakugo is in the same boat. Bakugo and Midoriya are more or less even after 3 minutes of fighting. How will this match continue? Present Mike asks as I spit BLD out of my mouth. You're holding back, Midoriya. Why? Bakugo shouts, leaping toward me with the help of his explosions. I dodge his head-on strike and counter with a well-placed strike to his solar plexus, knocking the wind out of him. I move aside and behind him as he collapses, but he gets up quickly. I'm holding back because you are. I can tell. You're not as strong as you could be. I reply simply, rolling out my wrist. You noticed. I am holding back. Want to fight on even terms? But when I didn't see that black fire, I knew you were holding back. So I did as well. You gonna go all out or not? Bakugo asks, and I smile. Think I will. Will you be able to handle it? I ask, jumping into the 4th stage. Let's do this. Bakugo shouts, and we charge each other again. I throw an opening right hook when he gets close, but he leaps over me with the help of his explosions, then detonates one behind my head, knocking me forward. I nearly fall, and by the time I regain my feet, Bakugo is in my face again. I take a blow directly to the face and I fall flat on my back. Bakugo tries to finish me with a large short-range blast, but I sweep his feet out from under him and dodge the blast, then scramble to my feet behind him. DMN. You're better than I thought. You hold back quite a bit. I ask, looking at Bakugo. I touch the back of my head and confirm my suspicions. I'm bleeding in the back of the head. I do. Because my quirk is incredibly powerful. Something you can relate to, I'm sure. Bakugo snarls, leaping at me. I can. I reply, grabbing him by the head when he gets close, and slam him into the concrete in front of me. It cracks, sending pieces of concrete everywhere. When he gets up, I punch him in the face, knocking him near the edge of the arena. DMN. You were holding back quite a bit. Bakugo asks, and I shrug in response. Question is, how are you gonna deal with this? Bakugo shouts, leaping high into the air, and starting to spin, being propelled by his explosions. Soon, he resembles an explosive tornado, and it starts heading toward me. Howitzer. Impact. Bakugo shouts, leaping toward me in this state. I release into 5th stage, and as Bakugo comes in at a high angle, aimed at my head, I raise my hand. Bakugo makes contact, resulting in another massive explosion. Another massive explosion. Question is, who is left standing? Bakugo or Midoriya? Present Mike asks, and the dust settles. The crowd is shocked by what they see. I'm standing there, dressed in black flame armor, holding Bakugo by his head, several inches off the ground. I throw him out of bounds, then stop my armor and drop to my knees. Bakugo is out of bounds. Midoriya wins. Midnight says as I force myself to my feet. The stadium explodes into cheers as I throw a fist into the air in victory. I smile through the very literal pain. I spot Kyoka in the stadium, cheering her head off. That makes me shake my head a tiny bit. God, I love her. Midoriya. Bakugo shouts, walking up on the stage. I turn around and see him sticking a hand out at me. You beat me with all of your strength. I'll take the loss, but only this once. I'll beat you next time. Bakugo vows and I smile. I take his hand and shake it. Not gonna happen. You can try though. I say, and he grins at me. We'll see about that. Bakugo says, all right boys. Come up here. Midnight says, pointing at a tri-layered podium. I walk up to the 1st place podium, with Bakugo going up onto the 2nd place. Todoroki and Tokoyami come down a few minutes later and walk up onto the 3rd place podium. Now, we're going to have someone special come up and present the medals. Midnight begins to say, I am here. All Might, Oh, I'm sorry. I talked over you. All Might says, apologizing to Midnight. It's not a problem. All Might says, taking the 2 third-place medals, and giving them to Tokoyami and Todoroki, giving them both advice. He then grabs the silver medal and gives to Bakugo, who seems happy to receive it. Finally, he grabs the gold medal, and walks up onto my platform. Young Midoriya, you have proven yourself as the strongest first year. Well done. All Might says, putting the gold medal around my neck, then giving me a light hug. He did to the other contestants, so I'm not surprised, but what he says does surprise me. I don't trust you yet. But this. You may have changed my opinion a little bit, young Midoriya. Keep proving me wrong. All Might says, then backs away. I don't even listen when All Might messes up saying something important that causes the stadium to shake with the roars from the stands. I'm too focused on what All Might said. Keep proving him wrong. Will do. After the medals are presented, I stop by Recovery Girl quickly to get my head patched up, which she does pretty quick. I walk back to 1A, and when I walk in, people swarm me, congratulating me, giving me pats of the back, etc. Settle down, settle down. Good work, everyone. I'm proud of all of you. You all made into the top 42, and a good chunk of you made it into the final tournament. We all need to improve on some things, but for now, go home and get some rest. I have nothing else to say. Aizawa says, then lays down in his sleeping bag and passes out. Midori bro, the way you fought was so manly. You gave Bakugo, Todoroki, and Ida a beatdown. Kirishima says, getting nods out of the rest of the class. I noticed something though. Ida isn't here. The hell? Speaking of Ida, where is he? I ask, looking around. He had to go somewhere. Something about his brother being hurt on the job. Uraraka says, and I frown. His brother, Ingenium. That one. I ask, and Uraraka shrugs, I think so. I didn't know he had any siblings, to be honest. She says, and the rest of the class nods, he's an Ida, right? They're a pretty powerful hero family, often considered on par with Teiyeo Yorisis or the Todorokis. His brother is the pro-hero Ingenium. I think he operates out of Hosu. There have been reports that the hero killer stain was seen there a few days ago. I say, getting the attention of the class. The hero killer. He's killed dozens of heroes, and he still hasn't been caught. Kaminari asks, causing a chill to go through the room. He's dangerous. During my days outside of the academy, I was given a mission to take him down. It was the only mission I ever failed. Stain is an impressive man. Strong, fast, calculating. He beat me in a battle of blades, and pretty soundly too. He's probably the most dangerous person in all of Japan at the moment. I fought him 2 years ago, when he was just starting out. I've changed, and I'm sure he has as well. If he got Ida's brother. I say, leaving the comment hang in the air. Leave. And enough talk about Stain. Aizawa groans from his sleeping bag, and we all shut up and leave. Me, Kyoka, Todoroki, and Yaoyorozu all go to the cafe near you. Amy, Kyoka, and Yaoyorozu all get hot coffee of various flavors, while Todoroki gets iced coffee, and we all get about 3 scones each. So, do you think Ida is going to be okay? Todoroki asks, causing Yaoyorozu to sigh. Aizawa-sensei said to drop it. I think we should respect that. Yaoyorozu says, but I need to speak about this. I don't know Ida all that well, but he's not a man controlled by his emotions. However, Ida's brother is in the hospital. He was most likely attacked by Stain, who's known for killing heroes, or leaving them so injured they'll never be able to fight again. I think, at least personally, we need to watch him. Just to make sure he's okay. Vengeance is a dark emotion, and it can lead to one's downfall. I've seen it happen. I know the signs. I explain, then take a sip of my coffee. We sit in silence for a few minutes, but I decide to break it, and maybe have some fun. So, what's this unspoken thing going on between you two? I ask, moving my finger between Todoroki and Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu blushes, and Todoroki just stares at me. Confused, there's nothing going on. What are you talking about? Yaoyorozu asks, clearly mortified. Oh, I don't know. You showing excessive concern for him, giving him an ice pack when he can make ice, trying to cuddle with him, always trying to be close. I say, counting them off on my fingers. Yaoyorozu keeps turning darker shades of red, while Todoroki still looks very confused. I'm tempted to laugh that was just concern for a classmates who got hit rather brutally. Yaoyorozu says, trying to play to her side. Momo, I'm gonna be honest, you've done that for no one else. Only Todoroki. You didn't do the same thing for Ida or Bakugo. Only Todoroki. Kyoka says, making me smile, what is going on? Todoroki asks, causing me to laugh. Oh, this is too good. You're in denial, and Todoroki is as dense as a rock. I just want to see this play out. I laugh, point at Yaoyorozu and then Todoroki. I'm not in denial. I don't like Todoroki romantically. Yaoyorozu snaps. Checkmate. I never said that. I just asked what was going on between you two. I never said anything about romance. I reply, smirking. When I say that, Todoroki blushes a bit, and Yaoyorozu turns as red as a tomato. Todoroki, don't listen to Yaoyorozu begins, but she's cut off by Todoroki kissing her. I just start laughing and Kyoka takes a picture. Sorry about that. Just seemed right. Todoroki mumbles, pulling away. Did not expect that. I thought Yaoyorozu would make the first move. Well done, Todoroki. I laugh, getting a blush out of Todoroki. That's going to the girls' group chat. Kyoka says, causing Yaoyorozu to blush even harder. No, please don't. Please. She says, trying to grab Kyoka's phone, but she can't reach it, too late. Kyoka laughs maniacally. I'm sorry. I shall dash, Todoroki begins, but he's cut off by Yaoyorozu kissing him, causing me to laugh even harder. I'm gonna die. Oh. I'm glad you did. Not so suddenly or... Yaoyorozu mumbles. Anyway, now that happened, are you guys gonna eat your scones? I ask, snapping the new couple out of it. Hell yeah we are. These things are delicious. Yaoyorozu says, covering them with her hands, alright, love birds. Kyoka says a split second faster than me. Damn it. Beat me to it. I laugh, causing the couple to blush even more. We talk for a few more hours, then we all go our separate ways. When I get home, I shower, then just lay on my couch for a few hours watching TV. Today was good. Very good. Over the weekend, I relaxed, having woken up so sore I could barely walk after the sports festival. I turned on the news and found the press talking about me so much it was kinda embarrassing. I was either portrayed as the face of the next generation, or as a villain in Wait. My favorite line said about me was, this kid is so powerful and has so much sheer will, he could either become the #1 hero or the number villain. And there would be no one who could stop him. Fun times. Kyoka and I talked a lot over the weekend, discussing both the news and what was going at school. According to her, Yaoyorozu and Todoroki hung out quite a bit over the weekend, and Todoroki even stayed the night at Yaoyorozu's. We left what happened in there to our imaginations. When Kyoka and I met up at the coffee shop on Monday, I was swarmed by more than a dozen fangirls, all asking for my autograph. I gave them autographs and then they tried to kiss me. Are you not at all concerned that these girls are trying to kiss me? I ask, dodging kisses and hands trying to grab my face. Not too worried about it. You're a terrible kisser. Kyoka laughs as I dodge another attempt. Thanks. You know, you do realize you were my first kiss, right? I ask, causing all of the girls to freeze and look at Kyoka. This speech was your first kiss. You could have done better, you know. One of girls says and the rest laugh. They just fed up. What did you just call her? I ask quietly, my voice trembling with rage. The beach. It's correct though. One of the girls says, and the rest nod confidently. You just messed up, girlie. You see, I'm his girlfriend. Kyoka says, a huge smile on her face. I burst into black flame, and the girls all back up. You ever say that again, I will break all of you. I say, and the girls run away. You didn't have to do that. I could have handled them, you know. Kyoka says as I sit down. I know you could have. But what kind of boyfriend would I be if I let other girls call you a beach? I reply, a smile on my face. Fair point. We should get going. Kyoka says and I nod. As we walk toward campus, it starts raining. Not hard, but it is raining. As we hurry to campus, Ida comes alongside us. He's wearing a green poncho over his uniform and looks rather determined. You went all out? I ask, looking at him. We better hurry if we want to make it on time, you know. Ida says, doing high knees next to us. Ida, class starts in 15 minutes. It's all of a 2 minutes walk from here. Kyoka says, shaking her head slightly. You have to be there 15 minutes early. Ida says, a bit miffed. Ida, I say, and he looks at me. Yes. Are you okay? Usually you wants us there 10 minutes early. What's with this? I ask, looking at him seriously. Just being more prepared. Now come on. Ida says, taking off, is that all that different from normal? Kyoka asks, watching Ida run off. Ida is all about consistency. There's no way in hell he would do something like that. I know him. He wouldn't do that. I say as we walk into the main building a few minutes later, and sit down. Alright, today, we're gonna pick hero names. Helping us is going to be someone you all know. Midnight, bursting into the room and cutting Izuku off. Yes. It's midnight. I'm gonna leave now. Alright. Write your names down on these sheets of paper. You will be presenting these. Now begin. Midnight says, and everyone begins writing or thinking. For my part, I just sit and think. Several people go up, but I don't pay attention until Kyoka goes up. The hearing hero, earphone jack. Kyoka says, sounding very proud. I like it. Midnight says, and Kyoka goes and sits down. I give her a thumbs up and she returns a beaming smile. After a few more minutes, I'm the only left, save Bakugo, who seems to really like the murder theme. Then, out of the blue, an idea hits me. Kapaldi's codename. That's it. I got one. I say, standing up and walk up to the podium, let's hear it. Midnight says, looking at me expectantly. The power hero, Avenger. I say, and the room goes silent. That's unique. What does it mean? It doesn't pertain to your quirk. Midnight asks, and I cite my partner, the CIA hero who died. His codename was Avenger. So, I've taken up the mantle. I will be the person who will never lose another life that's in my power to save. This name will forever remind me of this. I explain, and Midnight nods. A name with a sad, yet powerful backstory. I like it. Midnight says, giving me a small smile. Lord Explosion Murder. Bakugo shouts after I sit down, still no. Midnight sighs, and Bakugo snarls again. By the end of the class, Bakugo had chosen Ground Zero as a name, and the class sighed a breath of relief. Alright, now that that's out of the way. Here are how many offers you each got for the internships. Izuku bringing a screen up on the board. Midoriya, 6547 Todoroki, 4123 Bakugo, 3556 Tokoyami, 360 Ida, 301 Kaminari, 272 Yaoyorozu, 108 Kirishima, 68 Uraraka, 20 Kyoka. 14 Midoriya got over 6,000 offers. Geez. Makes sense though. He did win the festival. Kirishima asks, looking at the chart. Honestly, I expected to get much less. I beat Todoroki and Bakugo up pretty good. Plus, half of the news stations are calling me villain-like. I say, shaking my head a bit, maybe so. That's what they said about me, and yet, here we are. I want all of you to consider carefully your choices in these internships. They are important for training and conditioning your quirks. Make you choices by the end of the week and get back to me. Izuku says, and then crawls into his sleeping bag. Who are you gonna choose? Kyoka asks, looking over my shoulder at the stack of paper in my hand. Well, before this whole thing, after my fight with Monoma, EdgeShot said he would put in an offer for my internship. I'm leaning heavily toward him. Most of these names I don't recognize. Some are high-level. Fat Gum, EdgeShot, Genist, even Endeavor. But I think EdgeShot is gonna be the most help. I think I'll be able to improve my quirk under him. I say, leaning back in my chair. I'm thinking about going to Death Arms. He's pretty close, and I'll be able to help people. Kyoka says, and I nod in agreement. He seems like a good hero. Ida, who you going to? I ask, looking at him examining his offers. Manuel. Seems like a good fit. Ida says, glancing at me. Ida. Isn't Manuel in Hosu? I ask, walking over to him and looking at the sheets. So, Ida asks, a bit miffed, you're gonna go after Stain if you get the chance, aren't you? I ask, leaning against the wall, what does Satin have to do with T-? Stain attacked your brother, didn't he? I ask, cutting right to the point. He did. Ida says, clenching his fists. Ida, you don't stand a chance in hell against him, you know that, right? I ask, looking at him, I have to try. I have to avenge my brother. Ida snarls, looking at me. He's frustrated and sad, I can see it on his face. But it's his eyes, there's something deeper. Bloodless. No. You take on Stain, you will not win. I couldn't beat him. Ida, I'm gonna be honest, unless you have some overpowered move I'm unaware of, you stand no chance. Stain is a killer, with dozens of pro-hero corpses tied to his name. I say, and Ida snaps, you think I don't know that? I know what he's done. But I need to do this. Ida shouts, then his voice fades at the end. Throughout the whole thing, my expression doesn't change. Ida, you're mad. Frustrated. I get it. But revenge is a dark path. Once you take a step, it's something you can't get off. I say, putting my hand on his shoulder. My brother. He's my role model. To see him in a hospital bed, paralyzed from the weight down. It scares me. He seemed invincible to me. But I saw him vulnerable and hurt. Ida says, hanging his head. Ida, promise me that if you need help, you'll call me. You'll someone you trust. And don't take on Stain. Promise me. I say, squeezing his shoulder lightly. I will. Ida says, nodding slowly. Good. I say, then go sit back down. I select EdgeShot, leaning back in my seat. This is gonna be fun. Saturday comes quickly, and I hand in my selection. Good choice. Izawa says, and I nod. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I say, and walk out of class and find Kyoka waiting outside the class for me. Where is EdgeShot located, by the way? Kyoka asks, well, he's part of the Lurkers, but I'm going to be training at his private facility, which is located just outside of Hosu. I explain close to Ida. If he goes after Stain, would you help him? Kyoka asks, and I look at her. She looks worried. I would. Just to make sure he doesn't die. I think I'm the only one in this class who could hold Stain in a one-on-one. Not saying that as an insult, but I've actually fought him. I know how he fights. I say, putting my arm around Kyoka. Izuku, don't get yourself hurt. Please. Kyoka murmurs, leaning her head against mine. I can't promise anything, but I will try my hardest not to get hurt. I say, squeezing her shoulder. Thank you. Just be careful. Kyoka says, kissing me on the cheek. The next day, I get ready for my internship, stopping by the school to grab my costume and my improved weapons. I stopped using the pistols and got spring-loaded knives that rest on top of my forearms and extend about 6 inches or so over my fists. Good for punches. I still have my normal knives, but those are in hip holsters. I rest up over the weekend as well as pack. Hosu isn't that far away, but I'll be staying with EdgeShot for a full week, and I like to be prepared. I pack enough clothes for a week, and a few extra pairs in case I need to change. Kyoka and me text a lot of Sunday, talking about internships. Kyoka is just staying at her place for the internship, so that's good for her. On Monday, I catch an early train to Hosu, and arrive outside of EdgeShot's building at about 6:30 a.m. It's a large apartment building, and apparently EdgeShot has the penthouse. I walk into the lobby and up to the desk. Are you here for someone? A receptionist with a cat head asks, looking at her with my feline eyes. It's probably me. EdgeShot says, walking up behind me. EdgeShot. Of course. Do you need a room? We do have a few openings on the higher floors. I have a guest room. Follow me, Midoria. EdgeShot says, walking toward an elevator and pressing the button for 30th floor. Isn't this a bit obvious? For a ninja, I ask, and EdgeShot merely shakes his head a bit. You'll see. I like simplicity. EdgeShot says, Aiden, when the elevator dings open, I see what he means. His living room has been turned into a dojo of sorts, with tatami floors and racks of weapons lining the walls. The floors are made of a gray slate floors, and while my shoes tap quietly on the floor, EdgeShot doesn't make a sound. Ninja. Get changed into a GI. There should be several in your room. Meet me out here in 5 minutes, shoeless. EdgeShot says, pointing down a hall. I find the door to the guest room, since it's labeled as such. I open the door and find only a bed and nightstand in the room. Simple. I set my suitcase aside and find GI in the closet. I pull one on, and I'm a bit miffed to only find a white belt. But whatever, I suppose. I walk out, shoeless as EdgeShot requested. I find him in a GI as well, but he's still wearing a mask that covers the lower half of his face. What kinds of combat training have you had, Midoriya? EdgeShot asks, looking at me. Karate, boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, combat sambo, the U.S. Marine Line System, Krav Maga, Western and Japanese sword arts, and Bakator. I say, looking calmly at EdgeShot, who actually looks shocked. That's an impressive and deadly array. Why don't you use it more often? EdgeShot asks, I was trained to fight non-quirk users. Military specialists don't use their quirks all that often. It's seen as weak. Fighting quirk users is a whole other animal, not to mention I can't kill anyone, so that limits my options a bit. I say, and EdgeShot nods slowly. Alright. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna use your most powerful form of your quirk, and you're gonna fight me. EdgeShot says, standing up. I follow and unleash my quirk to the 5th level, covering myself in my armor. How long can you hold this form? EdgeShot asks as I bounce on my feet a bit. At max, maybe 2 minutes. I say, cracking my knuckles. Alright. Come at me with boxing. Western fighting styles intrigue me. EdgeShot says, and I nod. Getting into a boxing stance, I shoot forward, throwing a combination of jabs, crosses, hooks, and uppercuts, which EdgeShot all dodges. He's fast. Exceptionally so. But something seems off. It's almost like, alright, stop, EdgeShot says, and I stop my quirk, breathing heavily. Do you know why you didn't land a single hit? EdgeShot asks as I stand up. Your quirk. It allows you to become thinner than a sheet of paper, correct? I ask, and EdgeShot nods. My quirk, Fold a Body, allows me to do just that. I dodged your punches, which were insanely fast, by the way, by making my body as thin as possible. I used my quirk to overpower yours, without even touching you. Your quirk is a quirk that relies on your ability to hit someone. You could easily kill someone with one hit, correct? EdgeShot asks, and I nod. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna spar until lunch, working on increasing your quirk endurance. After that, we'll spar until you hit me, then we'll eat dinner. Deal. EdgeShot asks, and I nod. We got at it for several hours. By the time we're finished, I can hold my 5th stage for nearly 6 minutes, even in my exhausted state. You've improved quite a bit. Let's eat. You like katsudon, right? EdgeShot says, handing me a bowl. How did you know I liked this? And when did you make this? I ask, looking at him, impressed. I learned to cook when I was young. Kinda a habit of mine. I make all of own food. What about you? Do you cook? EdgeShot asks, digging into a bowl of beef stew. I can make food, but I can't make a ton. I mean, I know how to butcher more than 30 different kinds of animals, including snakes, but I can't katsudon without burning my hands. I laugh, taking a bite of the pork. You've had a pretty hard life, huh? You became an orphan at an early age, then joined an elite Black Ops unit. And yet, you came a whole person who's pretty damn funny. EdgeShot says, looking at me. I wouldn't say I'm whole. I've lost people. Friends, comrades, partners. I've had too many DMN people die in my hands. The most recent being Kapaldi. I say, hanging my head a bit. Kapaldi. EdgeShot asks, confused, the man at USJ who died. He got run through. He bleed out in my arms. I'm not proud to say I nearly lost it. I nearly unleashed my uncontrollable 5th stage. I would killed friend and foe alike. I explain, then take another bit of katsudon. I haven't had the best life either, to be honest. My father was an alcoholic, my mother a drag addict. I have from broken bottles on my back. But I became a hero and got my parents back from the brink of self-destruction. I'm proud. And now, I'm gonna have a chance to be something my parents never were to me. Parents. EdgeShot says, pointing at a set of photos on his wall. It's him and woman around his age standing around, laughing, sitting with each other. Girlfriend or wife? I ask, looking at him. EdgeShot laughs and shakes his head. Girlfriend. She's off on a business trip. She gets back the day after your internship. Her name is Orihime Sugimoto. I'm planning to propose when she gets back, or shortly afterward. I'm really nervous about it. EdgeShot says, rubbing the back of his neck. Believe or not, I've been to a few weddings. Black ops are like family. You support those guys. These guys, who had taken on literal armies and some of the deadliest men on the planet, said that proposing was the most nerve-wracking thing they ever did. You're not alone, man. I smile, looking at him. Seriously. That kinda surprises me. But enough about my love life. Do you have a girlfriend? EdgeShot asks, and I smile a tiny bit wider yet. Her name is Jiro. You probably saw her at the sports festival. I say, and EdgeShot smirks. Think. Kinda hard to tell with the mask. The one who hugged you after the Cavalry battle, right? EdgeShot says, and I nod. I met her only a few weeks ago, when she ran into me, quite literally, by Dagoba Beach. After saving her at USJ and several hours of talking beforehand, we kinda just went with the flow. I shrugged him. She's certainly powerful and has promise as a hero, I can tell that much. But, as it stands, she could use to work on her hand-to-hand combat. I'm sure you've noticed that, though. EdgeShot says, and I laugh, both Class 1A and B could stand to work on their hand-to-hand combat. I was able to beat Class 1A without even using my 4th stage, and you know what happened with Class 1B, I say, and EdgeShot nods. Alright, shall we continue? EdgeShot asks, and I nod and stand up. I activate my quirk to the 5th level again, and we go at it for the 2nd time. I didn't get a hit on him until close to 8 o'clock. It was after an ultra-fast combo of punches, finished off my knee to the gut. I ate my dinner quickly, and then went and showered and collapsed on my bed. I checked my phone and more than a dozen texts from Kyoka. Izuku, hey sorry. I was training with EdgeShot. Kyoka, that took forever. When did you stop training? About 8 or so. K, when did you start? About we took a break for lunch, but other than that, we were training. K, EdgeShot doesn't play around. Not at all. I'm gonna be hella sore tomorrow. K, poor baby. How was Death Arms? K, we did a little bit of combat training today, but it wasn't nearly as long as yours. Yeah well, I think EdgeShot is training me so hard is because he knows I can take. K, well try not to hurt yourself too badly. I got to bed, since I'm up early tomorrow. Night baby. After I put away, I pass out almost instantly, and fall into a deep, dreamless sleep. Over the next 3 days, me and EdgeShot more or less repeat the same pattern, training for endurance in the mornings, and some kind of sparring in the afternoons. On Tuesday, it was knife combat, Wednesday, swords, and Thursday was more hand-to-hand. But on Thursday, something interesting happens. Me and EdgeShot were in the middle of a sparring session. Today we were doing karate, and when I threw a high kick, an odd sensation, almost like a dull pain appeared in my foot. Right after that an arc of black flame followed the path of my foot. The hell? EdgeShot asks as he quickly backs up from the fire. That's new. Must be all the training I've done with my quirk. I say, looking at the black fire bursting from my feet, even over my black flame armor. I deactivate my quirk and the fire vanishes. How did you do that? EdgeShot asks, looking at me. I have no idea. Let me run a few tests. I say, activating the 1st level of my quirk. I try to use the fire, but nothing happens. I move up to the 2nd level, and still nothing happens. Same with the 3rd level. On the 4th level, it finally works, and I summon concentrated auras of fire around my feet and hands. Oddly, it doesn't burn the tatami mats underneath my feet. Alright, let's see what I can do. I say, then go into a set of combinations, throwing kicks, punches, and other even elbows and knees. It seems, whenever I throw either a kick or punch, fire explodes outward, kind of as an extending of my kicks and punches. That's kinda crazy. It's like nothing I've ever seen, but it doesn't seem to burn anything. EdgeShot says, shaking his head. Maybe because I'm not trying to. I bet. Do you have a wooden target of some kind? I ask and EdgeShot nods. He grabs a target with dozens of scars on it, and I throw a punch at it, making sure to think about not burning it. As I suspected, nothing happens. Then I throw a punch and think about the fire burning through the target. The target catches fire the instant the fire touches it, and is eaten away in mere seconds, and when I think about it not burning anymore, the fire just stops. Now I'm pyrokinetic. This just keeps getting crazier. I knew I was powerful, but I sigh, then stop the fire on my hands and feet. This is crazy. I meant to tell you this sooner, but we're gonna go out on the streets tonight. Should have told you sooner. EdgeShot says, and I look at him, just patrolling. I ask, looking at him. Go get into your hero costume. We leave in 10. EdgeShot says, and I nod. I walk back to my room and pull out my Ama's suit. I change out of my GI and pull on the suit. As I move to leave, I grab my phone and put in a protective pocket on my chest. I walk out holding my helmet by my hip. EdgeShot is already out by the time I am, and he's holding something. A package of some kind, wrapped in brown paper. This is for you. Open it. EdgeShot says, handing me the package. I open it and reveal a peeling black katana in its sheath. I pull the blade out and examine the gold detailing on the hilt and at the bottom of the blade. EdgeShot. Dude, this is awesome. I say, looking at the blade. I thought you would say that. It's custom made. I had this made a while back and waiting for the perfect person to give it to. I've decided it's you. Its name is Kuroba. The name is a bit obvious, but accurate. I hope it serves out well. Shot says, and I nod my thanks. I sling the scabbard over my shoulder and slide the blade in, then practice drawing the blade. We head down the elevator and I put on my helmet, and when we arrive in the lobby, we find it packed with people. What are those things? Why are they here? I hear people shouting. I don't like this. What's going on? EdgeShot asks someone, who looks at him. Terrified creatures are attacking. Hosu is burning. The man replies, and both my and EdgeShot's expression darken. Me and EdgeShot burst out into the street and see what people were running from. A trio of Nomus. 2 of them are a light gray color, and one is a color similar to the one at USJ. One of them even has wings and is diving at the heroes. These things are Nomus? EdgeShot asks as we run toward the creatures. The gray ones are new, but they are Nomus. I say, drawing my knives and flaring into my 4th stage. We need help, EdgeShot. These things are tough. A pro hero shouts and I look at him. Manual. I ask as EdgeShot looks at the Nomus, which are just kinda looking around. Who are you, kid? Manual asks, looking at me, a bit confused, not important at the moment. Where's Tenya? Tenya Ida. I ask, looking around for him. I don't spot him. He was right here. Where'd he go? Manual asks, looking around. Son of a beach. Shut, I need to go. I need to find that kid. I snarl, starting to back away. What do you mean? EdgeShot asks as one of the Nomus screeches, he's gone after Stain. I gotta find him and quickly. I reply, let me help then. You can't take on Stain by yourself. EdgeShot says as I get ready to leap away, you're needed here. I'll call for backup if things get hairy. Just try not to die. I shout, then I jump. I leap around the city, jumping from building, searching in alleys far away from downtown. I'm moving as fast as I can without using my 5th stage. I just hope it's fast enough. After 10 minutes of frantic searching, I find him. Ida is frozen on the ground, with Stain standing over his back, katana in the air. I send a text to Todoroki, hoping he's close enough to help. I can only send my location at the moment, but let's hope he gets the message. Get away. I shout, throwing a punch-a arc of flame at Stain, which he dodges. Midoriya. What are you doing here? Ida asks as I land next to him, cracking the asphalt next to him. I could ask you the same thing. The hell are you doing here, alone, when Hosu is being attacked by Nomus? I snarl, not taking my eyes off of Stain, who is just examining me at the moment. Reaper. I'm surprised to see you here. I never thought we would meet again. Stain says, finally recognizing me. He smiles, and it sends a shiver down my spine. I'm not happy to see you, Stain, considering the circumstances. I want to ask you something before we begin. And it's Avenger now, Stain. I say, putting my knives away and drawing Kuroba. Sure. What is it? Stain asks, readying his own katana. Are you working the League of Villains, or Tamura Shigaraki? I ask, activating my 5th stage. My black flame armor appears all over my body. No. Now, can we fight? Stain asks, shooting forward, swinging his chipped and battle-hardened katana. I block it with Kuroba, and kick him in the ribs, knocking him back. You've improved, young warrior. Stain shouts, charging me again, throwing a knife as he does so. The knife misses me on purpose. It was simply a distraction. I block his katana strike, and counter with a well-placed punch to the same spot where I kicked him. I follow that up using a front kick, sending him flying back into the wall behind him. He hits it hard and lays on the ground, not moving. Simply in pain. I take this chance to examine both Ida and the injured pro-hero. Ida is alright but still paralyzed. He's not in immediate danger, but could bleed out over the next few hours. The pro-hero, named Native, is a bit of a different case. He has multiple serious wounds. I wrap him in some bandages as a way to slow down the bleeding, but he needs a hospital. Midoriya. Please, leave him to me. I can handle him. Ida shouts from the ground, and I let loose a harsh laugh. No, you can't. Ida, you're not strong enough. I'm sorry, but your quest for vengeance ends here. I say as I hear metal scraping on the ground me. I stand up, facing Stain as he gets up. But you've gotten quite a bit stronger. But not enough. Stain shouts, charging at me yet again. I block the sword strike, but miss the spiked metal boot being swung at me head. It connects with my helmet, and I'm slammed into the wall. My helmet now has a small hole in it, but it still works. I dropped my sword, and it skittered away from me. Damn it. Time to go, UDMN hero. Stain shouts, standing over the paralyzed Native. Not so fast. I shout, shooting flame out of my fist at Stain. He dodges again, stumbling back away from Native. What is that, Midoriya? Ida asks as I force myself to my feet. I can control the black flames on my body now. I can shoot them out and control if burn things or not. I explain as Stain stares at me, curiously, why are helping this student, and acting like you know him, Reaper? You were a military man, right? Stain asks as I glare at him, correct. I was a military man. I'm now a student at UA High. This kid is my friend, classmate, and class representative. You messed with him. Now you go. I snarl, taking the offensive for the first time in the fight. I leap forward and engage in a battle of swords. I press him hard, attacking in a random and unpredictable pattern, slashing, stabbing, and using the antithesis to any sword style, combing both Japanese and Western sword fighting styles for my advance. Stain can barely keep up with me and I push him hard. But then the worst happens. I slip. I fall forward and Stain takes the chance. He stabs me the lower arms, drawing B, and you lose. Stain says, liking. The BLD off of his blade. I freeze in place, unable to move. His DMN quirk. You hurt anyone else, Stain, and I will kill you. I snarl, deactivating my quirk. I need to save it. I only have about 5 minutes or so left. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. All right. I think this one dies first. Stain says, walking over to Ida and stabbing him the shoulder, again. Ida doesn't cry out to his credit, but he's pretty clearly in pain. Stain, why kill a child? I thought you only killed unworthy heroes. I shout and Stain just laughs. Because this hero in training is useless. He's too focused on revenge to become a hero. He deserves to die. Stain shout, raising his sword above his head, going for the killing blow. I don't think so. A monotone voice I recognize says. A flame burst appears from the street, and Stain leaps off of Ida, avoiding the flames. Todoroki couldn't have had better timing. I laugh as he walks into the alley, fire burning up his left arm and ice on his right. You're lucky I even got here. My father seemed rather mad at me for leaving. But I reckon he's taking on the Nomus at this point. Todoroki says, and I laugh, makes sense. So, how long do you think we have to hold this guy before the heroes appear? I ask, trying to move. My fingers budge, but only the tiniest bit. His quirk is slipping. How much longer until I can move again? You're Endeavor's son, right? Stain asks, looking at Todoroki warily. Correct. Todoroki says, looking at Stain with the same expression. Well, let's see how good the son of the second hero is. Stain shouts, charging forward, but he's forced to dodge a line of ice from Todoroki. This continues for several minutes, with Todoroki shooting ice, and Stain dodging. I can almost move again, but it'll take more time. You're too weak, young Todoroki. Stain shouts, throwing a trio of knives at Todoroki, which bury themselves into his arm. Shoto grimaces in pain, and Stain explodes forward, shooting his katana at Todoroki's head. It nicks his cheek and Stain smiles. I win. Stain shouts, moving the katana to his mouth like hell. I shout, shooting to my feet and ripping the katana out of his hands. I activate my fire and incinerate the blade. You can use fire now. What is going on, Midoriya? Todoroki asks, yanking the knives out of his arm. He cauterizes the wounds with his fire, gritting his teeth the whole time. Long story. Right now, we need to concentrate on beating this guy. Ida, can you move? I ask as Stain looks at me, in pure shock. I didn't expect it to wear off quite that quickly, Reaper. Your BLD type is O, isn't it? Stain asks and I nod. That affects how long you can hold the paralysis, right? O is by far the weakest, which is what allowed me to get up so quickly. I say as Ida tries to get to his feet, but can't quite yet. You're right. I'm surprised you figured it out that quickly. Stain admits. Well, now we can take him down, right, Midoriya? Todoroki says as Ida gets to his feet. We can. You good to go, Ida? I ask, I'm good. Let's do this thing. Recipro burst. Ida shouts, exploding forward, followed by me, my knives in hand. Stain dodges Ida's initial kick, but gets nicked by the second one, and gets slammed into the asphalt by me, leaving a nasty cut on his cut. He rolls out of the way of an axe kick delivered by Ida, and leaps to the side, dodging an ice flow, but gets slammed through the ice by a kick, courtesy of me. He gets up quickly, dodging another kick from Ida, and jumping into the air to dodge another ice flow. That when me and Ida react at the same time. We both leap directly towards Stain, who can't do anything to defend himself. Time for you to pay for your crimes, Stain. Ida shouts, reeling a kick back, see you in hell, UB. I shout, reeling a punch of my own back. We connect at the same time, and Stain doesn't stand a chance. A full force kick from Ida, and a powerful punch from me, directly to either side of his chest. He loses all sense of consciousness in an instant, passing out midair. We did it. Ida says, after we land on the ground. I deactivate my quirk, and fall to my knees, exhausted. Yeah. We did. I say, breathing hard, you guys okay? Todoroki asks, walking over to us, carrying my sword. He hands it to me and I take the blade, sheathing it. I'm okay. I just got his katana through my forearm. I'm not in danger of bleeding out, but it still hurts like a son of a beach. I say, standing up. I got stabbed through the shoulder. But I'm fine. I'm more worried about Native. Ida says, pointing to the injured pro hero. I'm okay, thanks to you patching me up. Native says as I walk over to him. I hook my arm under his shoulder, and help him to his feet. Alright, let's get out of here. I say as Ida and Todoroki drag Stain out of the alley. Midoriya. EdgeShot says, running over to us, followed by about a dozen or so pro heroes, including Endeavor and Manual. EdgeShot. I take it the Nomus are gone. I ask, looking at the worried faces of the pro heroes. Yeah. We killed two, and the other fled. Who's the guy Shoto and the Ida kid are dragging? Endeavor asks, looking at the unconscious form of Stain. The hero killer, Stain. Ida replies, and the rest of us nod. Stain. The one who attacked Ingenium. Manual asks, and Ida nods. You guys took him down. Just you four. EdgeShot asks, a bit shocked I wasn't a part of this. It was all these 3 students. Native says, shaking his head, getting even more shocked expressions. You 3 took down someone who's killed dozens of pro heroes? Manuel asks, shaking his head in disbelief. Yeah? I say, as another hero grabs Native from me. It was a joy, Midoriya, watch out. Ida shouts, and I turn around to see the flying Nomu diving at me. I can't react fast enough, and it grabs me by the shoulder. Midoriya! Todoroki shouts, and a flash of red, black and yellow flies toward me. It slices off the Nomu's head, grabs me and sets me down on the concrete. I look up and see Stain, facing the pro heroes in front of me, this one. This hero right here, is one of the true heroes left. I will protect him to my dying breath. And I expect you guess we dash, Stain shouts, releasing a malicious aura, which suddenly stops. He's passed out, standing up. He passed out, confident and ready to go. After the fight with Stain, we were taken to Hosu General Hospital and admitted for our injuries. Todoroki had cauterized his own wounds shut, so they just wrapped up the burns, and kept him to make sure he didn't get infected. I had a stab wound directly through my forearm, which the sewed shut. They told me it would scar, but other than that I would be fine. Ida was still waiting for the report on his injuries when we had a few visitors. Boys, you have some important visitors. The nurse says as we all turn to face the door. In walks EdgeShot, Manuel, and a man with the head of a beagle. Me and Todoroki are wearing normal clothes, since the doctors okayed it, but Ida is still in a hospital robe. My name is Kenny Tusragame, woof. I am the chief of police, and have some things to discuss with you. First, your illegal use of quirks, woof. You used your quirks to apprehend Stain, who while being a notorious criminal, still has rights. You attacked him, and even though you are hero students, you do not have your provisional licenses. This is grounds for arrest, woof. The beagle-headed man says, causing Todoroki and Ida to hang their heads a bit. Just get set off. I shoot to my feet, and I feel my eyes turn black, my rage boiling. Listen here, you didn't mutt. If Ida hadn't been there, Native could have been killed. If I hadn't been there, Ida could have been killed, along with Native. If Todoroki hadn't shown up when he did, me, Ida, and Native could have all been killed. So why the hell are you punishing us, when you should be thanking us? I snarl, but EdgeShot holds up his hand. Midoriya, shut up and listen. EdgeShot snarls and I sit back down. That is the official position of the police. But, based on your actions, and who you 3 both saved and apprehended, we have decided to warp the situation, woof. We have decided that you 3 will be pardoned, if, and only if, you allow the credit of capturing Stain to Endeavor and EdgeShot, woof. You cannot tell anyone about who really captured Stain, woof. Tsurigame says. Basically, what he's saying is that if you tell, you go to jail. You don't tell, you get to live your lives and continue as hero students. Manuel explains, spreading his hands out. I suppose we don't have much choice, do we? I chuckle, and the other 2 nod. But before I leave, I just want to say this. You have been unfairly treated, in my opinion. The world's an unfair place. You'll receive none of the rewards and fame that you might receive otherwise, but, as someone invested in protecting the police, I am allowed to say thank you. Tsurigame says, bowing to us. Now, try not do anything stupid in the future, EdgeShot says, after Tsurigame leaves. He accents this by lightly karate chopping my head. No promises. I reply, a smirk on my face, getting another smack to head. By the way, here's your phone. You've got a lot of calls from someone. EdgeShot says, handing me my phone. It's got more than 24 missed calls from Kyoka. I need to step out to take this. I say, walking out of the room and heading down the hall a bit. I call Kyoka, and she picks up on the first ring. Izuku, is that you? Kyoka asks. Oh, she sounds like she's been crying. Yeah, it's me. I reply, and Kyoka starts to cry a bit. Though. You were dead. Izuku. She exclaims as I feel tears come to my eyes as well. I'm harder to kill than that. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you sooner. I've been in the hospital. I say, bracing for shouting. Surprisingly, it doesn't come when When I saw the news that Hosu was being attacked, I was so worried. Are you okay? Please tell me you're okay. Kyoka sniffles, breaking my heart even more. I'm fine. I just a deep cut. I wasn't being careful, and a piece of sharp metal went into my arm. I got it healed though. I'm gonna have a scar, but no other damage. I say, and Kyoka sighs in relief. How's Ida? He was in Hosu too, right? And what about Todoroki? Me and Yaoyorozu saw Endeavor at the scene, but we couldn't find Todoroki. Kyoka says, and I chuckle a bit. Todoroki's gonna have some scars. Pieces of metal got into his arm as well. He pulled him out and cauterized him shut, so he'll have some scars, but he's okay. Ida got the worst of it. He got a piece of metal in his shoulder. Doctors are still getting his report up, but he'll be fine. I say, and I hear someone else sigh in the background. Probably Yaoyorozu. I'm glad to hear it. When will you guys get back? Probably within a day or two. They're keeping us in case of infections. We'll be back by the time school starts up again. I say, so when? Mina, stop it. Mina. I hear Kyoka struggling, and I feel very concerned. Kyoka, you there? I ask, and I hear muffled words coming over the phone. Thina's clear voice pokes through. It's Mina now. How are you? She asks, and I sigh at the moment, a bit miffed that I can no longer talk to my girlfriend, but other than that, fine. I say, and I hear struggling, then Kyoka's strained voice, look, I'ma have to call you back. Bye baby, love you. Kyoka says, then hangs up. That just happened. I sigh, then walk back into the room. Ida is finishing up talking with the doctor, who leaves about 3 seconds after I come in. So, what's the news? I ask as Ida looks at his left hand. I'm going to have damage in my hand. Nothing serious, just some slight numbness and restriction of movement, but it's going to stay. I'm going to leave it like this until I'm a true hero. Ida says, looking at his hand, you know, I just realized something. You hurt my hand in your fight with me, Midoriya. Now Ida's hand is hurt. Maybe my quirk is actually hurting other people's hands. Todoroki says, looking at his hands sadly. Me and Ida exchange glances, then just start cracking up. I'm being serious. I should be called the hand crusher. Todoroki says, making us laugh harder.